holding on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds, and when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me.
The second half of the season is always one of the most important. You have a rundown for how many points you can score, how many points you can collect, and it all comes down to who has the bottle to take it all the way to Long Beach, California. We start, though, today with an Empire state of mind. This, of course, is for some a boardwalk empire as well. This is New York. We are upstate, though, here in New York, for Watkins Glen, the former Formula One circuit, the resting place of the late Francois Sever. My name's Jake Sperry here, joined alongside by Sam Cooper Bennett, here to bring you all of the action of the UK sim racing MX-5 Pro Series. And my goodness, what a night of racing we are in for today. Conditions are overcast here in practice. The drivers have been trading times up at the top over and over again. It's Draft Train City, and Sam, this is probably one of the places where you could say that A, you can make places, but B, more importantly, drivers who maybe don't have out-and-out natural pace can still go out and win this one.
Yeah, it's a very, very, very difficult track to master, even though it's one of the shortest we've going to go to, but it's one of the most popular at the same time. And yeah, it's very easy to get a win here. We've seen a lot of shock wins in the past, and who knows, we might get another one here tonight.
We certainly could. This is fast speed in terms of a track. It is 5.41 kilometers, 11 turns worth of action. Normally when you hear 5.41 kilometers, you're expecting a lap of 2.5 minutes there or thereabouts in these machines. We're only going around in 125 seconds at our very best, which tells you just how quick we're going to be today. If you haven't had a chance to already, you're here for the first time with us with ESPN, your esports broadcasting network. You can like, share and subscribe for more amazing content brought to you by the team here. What is so very vital, though, is to talk championship at this moment. As it was last year, or last season, I should say, driver with the most points at this stage of the championship is Dan Hunt for DOF Reality Sim Racing Studios. 2021, 103 points clear of Roy Vervaeke in second, Martin Sampson currently in third. But the big key, drop rounds. 2 of them, and drivers very much within the realms of possibility for picking up those points. And the big drivers that I'm keeping my eyes out on are in 11th and 12th right now in the championship. Daniel Bristow and Vincenzo Amico.
Yeah, 2 drivers very much in with a shot of picking up with the 2 drop rounds in hand and going to shoot up the table if once those come into play. Daniel Bristow's been on it. Vincenzo Amico, he only made his debut like in round 3 or 4, so definitely picked up strong as soon as he hit the track here, and definitely going to be right up there come Long Beach. With regards to the AM Championship, it's pretty much a different picture in the shape of things, especially after Donington Park last week.
Oh, I certainly agree. Of course, no Ralph Cullinan last week. We do this week as now we move ourselves over towards 15 minutes of open qualification, the no escape rule in full effect. But Andy Maxwell now on top, 73 points clear of Charles Kellyman, Optical Green 1 and 2 there. But Cullinan will use a drop for Result Clothing to bring himself back into play, being down their 5th position in the championship, 264 points back. Every chance of pulling all of that gap back.
Absolutely, and don't count out Alan Toon and another dark horse in this one, Steve Cooley as well in P4 as well. He's been slowly creeping his way up the standings as well. With regards to the team championships though, Jake, Optical Blue still very much in charge in that respect.
In charge, but not as commanding as it once was. We were talking about an 800-point gap once upon a time. That gap now down to 650 points overall, and it is not too much of a gap, so to speak, at this point in time. And this is one of the things that's going to be worth keeping an eye out on. Optical Blue, 5,025. Momo, the reigning team's champions, 4,375. Optical Green, 4,345. It's really, really close between those teams at the moment.
Yeah, it's really coming down to it, and Momo's starting to claw all that momentum back that they lost a few rounds ago. I believe it was Summit Point they had the bad night, and they're slowly clawing their way back up. They've managed to get back ahead of Optical Green. The question is, can they keep up that momentum now and fight their way back to the top? We'll find out as the time goes on.
We certainly will. A lot of drivers, though, will be unable to set times in qualifying. The stewards have penalised a handful of drivers. I count 9 drivers will be unable to go out there and set a time today in qualifying. Those include Ralph Cullinan, who's the former AM category leader, Steve Cooley, Jamie Ayers, Martin Sampson, Mark Lutz, Daniel Bristow, Andy Littler, Steve Hefford, and Anthony Larson. On top of that, pit lane penalties for race 2 for Andy Littler, for Mick Barry, who didn't serve his PS2, so he's still got to serve one of those in the back pocket. And then, of course, Ralph Cullinan on top of that. So a little bit of work then out there needing to be done today for a number of drivers. But they will soon be starting, and some are, their first flying laps, their first attempt of anger around this circuit. And this is a track which has a lot of elevation change and a lot of open eye-carry speed style corners. And this is what's going to be key, getting behind someone quick and drafting them all the way to success.
Yeah, especially up through the S's and down that long straight towards the carousel. No bus stop being used on this track. They're using the classic boot layout for this round, and definitely going to have to use that draft going up that hill and down that long straight and try and get that pass done in towards that carousel.
Yeah, that carousel is one of the most important corners. Falls away from you all the time. This long tyre killer of the left-hand side tyres as you go on through. So keep an eye out on that during the race, that these drivers are going to be a little bit more warm on the left-hand side as they descend now into the chute. The Alexei Usiakala corner, for those who know the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series law, and then heading to the toe of the boot, coming out of that chute, which is effectively, I would say, the instep that you've got going forward. So through the toe of the boot, and then it's back up the rise once again to charge yourself towards that heel of the boot, which has been a prime overtaking opportunity place, especially in machines which really do love the draft here. Cesare Rizzo being shadowed by Andy Maxwell, Hunt shadowed by Amico, Andreas Katz is fifth in the train, making that run through. And then finally here, Sam, those last three corners. Off camber is turn number 9, and this is probably the most difficult corner period on this circuit.
Very much so, and it's been responsible for a lot of incidents in the past in any category that you can think of as they come through the final two corners. Now another off-camber left-hander and then another right-hander here in this one. Very difficult to master. You've got to pick the correct gear to get the best momentum down the start-finish straight here as they complete their first flying lap here.
Yeah, expect those times to improve. Rizzo gets a time on the board. Vincenzo Amico on a 2:05.5. Catch doing well on a 2:05.7. Goes second fastest with that. Maxwell a 2:11.7. Not really good enough there. Had a moment out there on the lap, but is gearing up for one at this stage. So there is still work to be done. The likes of Benison, Toon and Van Gool all searching for a bit of a line here on the run over towards that start-finish line. But what is also going to be key is with the amount of drivers who are not able to take part here in qualifying, it is going to mean that they are going to have to settle themselves out. Van Gool goes 6th fastest here, and those at the front have a golden opportunity to break away when the mid-pack and the late pack who can't qualify all have to go and fight themselves effectively in arrears.
Yeah, and we might see the chaos happen a bit early here this week. Obviously, like you mentioned, with a lot of drivers not being able to take part in qualifying, we might see race 4 happen in race 1 here tonight. Obviously, for those that don't know, the last 2 weeks we've had a very chaotic start to race 4 with a lot of drivers being taken out. It might happen as early as race 1 this week.
It very much might do. There has been a couple of words exchanged about, come on, we're better than this, we're better than accidents in race 4, we can race with respect. We've seen it so many times over the course of this series, and I'm sure that a lot of drivers want to go out there and showcase what they have available in the back pocket. But this is a time when, if you need to be up there near the front of the championship and fighting hard for it, now is that said time to go and get those results. We keep eyeing up drivers and how good their results have been. And you talk about winningest drivers, we saw how last season it was double-digit numbers that got it done. Bristow's got 5 wins this season. Dan Hunt's got 4. Pete Newman's also got 4. He's not here tonight. But there is a whole litany of drivers up and down the order here, Sam, that have 2 wins, 1 win. A lot of drivers having, I would say, a nice bouquet full of podiums. So there are a lot of opportunities to go out there and score if you can get yourself in the right position.
Yeah, and if you're in that right position, you've got to take advantage of it. Otherwise, one small mistake will cost you around here, and we've seen it time and time again in other races. We're probably going to see it again here tonight. People clashing on the track as well. Summit Point being the most prevalent, with Dan Hunt and Dan Bristow getting together. Probably going to see the same again here tonight, but when will it happen? We don't really know.
We certainly don't, and the two Dans are polar opposite at the moment in terms of where they are stacked up, with Dan Hunt currently in 3rd position on the road as a couple more times just crossed the line at this stage as they all make their charges through. I believe Charles Kellyman doing a pretty decent job of things at this moment. 13 drivers have set a time, 9 drivers have not, and all of those 9 drivers do effectively have penalties. The last driver to set a time, Mick Barry, who will start from the pits in race 2, down there in 13th, 2:10.3. Nice to see Mick back, of course, here, Sam, after struggling with a little issue here and a little issue there, and a late inclusion into the racing. Of course, a winner at Donington Park. Carl Hardy will jump in and look to try and get some good pace.
Yeah, good to see Carl Hardy back, driving for, well, the most recent addition to the result team, and he's really given them a boost, giving them their first ever win last week at Donington. Let's see if he can kick on and continue that good run of form this week.
And a good run of form is definitely needed for certain drivers. I should point out that of those 3 drivers who are in the top 3 of the championship, Hunt, Viveka and Sampson at the moment, no drop rounds applied, only one of them last week here, Sam, had a top 5 finish. Yeah,
and they're going to have to really step up the game this week, because it was a terrible week for them last week. Looking to try and get that momentum back here at Watkins Glen, and they're capable of doing it. I know they can, so we'll have to wait and see if that actually comes back to them this time around.
Yeah, that's definitely a key. Top drivers from last week: Andreas Katz, 355 points, Vincenzo Amico, 351, and Jamie Ayres, 332 points overall. It was a great night as well in the AM category for Craig Jones. He scored 322 points, and that was good enough for him to take top AM honours over the course of last week. But today's going to be very different. It's all about just keeping yourself nice and calm, knowing what you are available to do and available to find in terms of a bit of pace, a bit of timing. And already we are 10 minutes through this qualifying session. In the next 15 seconds or so, they are allowed to start the lap times that they finish effectively in terms of what they do. They've got to get over the line before the clock strikes 0 and they go through. Worth noting, Andreas Katz is waiting for the train right now at this moment, but everybody here is looking at getting a good quick time on the board. And it is worth noting as well that Andy Maxwell and Charles Kellyman are pretty much 6th and 7th, the 2 amateur categories drivers 1 and 2 in the championship at this stage, both qualifying pretty well with each other.
Yeah, both teammates as well, driving for Optical Green. Now, they're going to be at each other's throats come the end of the season. I'm expecting it to be that way. The question is, Jake, are they going to throw the team rules book out of the window, or are they just going to hold station and get Maxwell that championship win that he lost last season?
Well, the first thing about team orders is that there are no team orders, and Optical is the sort of team that says if you're faster, you go through. Doesn't matter what order you put in on the book. You have to know that if you are quicker, we will let you go, no matter what the situation is. So you have to keep that in mind. The longer that racing like this does seem to go on, the more that does get a little bit more questionable. But I'm sure that they are very alert to what they want to be finding and what they want to be getting. 3 minutes, 46 seconds remaining on the clock. The top 5 as follows. It's Amico, Katz, Rizzo, Hunt, Viveka, your top 5 as things go. Viveka was pulling along there just a little bit. Steve Hansford looking for a ride. So very much worth keeping in the back pocket for this one, as Peter Van Gool just crosses the line, goes 5th fastest there on a 2:06.6.
Yeah, the Flying Dutchman doing it again, as he's actually going to pull it off to the side of the road on the exit of turn 1 there. I think he might be regrouping for another stab at it come the end of qualifying, but definitely a good time there for Van Gool.
Yeah, he's towed the car, so he won't be able to go back out again.
Okay,
and
yeah.
It's very treacherous as well, these conditions, and this is worth keeping in mind. It's 21 degrees, it's cold, it's going to take 2 or 3 laps to get the tyres up to temperature, and even then, this is a greasy surface.
It is. It's greasy no matter what the temperature is here around Watkins Glen. I love driving around here. It's just, it gets very slippy through certain corners, especially through turn 1. It is very easy to slide wide through there, and there is a very difficult bump. The curb on the outside of turn 1, if you slide onto that bump, your car will get bottomed out on there, and it will spit you out into the right-hand Armco. That just proves to you how slippy the corners can be, because if you slide through that, it's going to end your day pretty much.
It absolutely is, and if this is going to be a case of day done, there is no worse place for it to happen, and we haven't talked about it as a threat yet. Up the S's, turns 2, 3, 4. Many a time we have seen a multi-car pile-up there.
Yeah, speaking of multi-car pile-ups, just seen one coming out of the final turn there, and unfortunately, Andy Maxwell involved in that one, and Dan Hunt, and that's going to end their qualifying runs. But yeah, those S's are very, very difficult. If you get one wrong line in there, you will end up in the Armco, and it will end your day. It's very easy to make a mistake up there.
And, well, the issue was very much a case of Maxwell got hit there by Rizzo, got hit there by Hunt, but he threw himself into the wall first and foremost. Dan Hunt with very much nowhere to go. But give credit to Cesare Rizzo after that hit, yeah, because he took that hit and managed to get the car off into pit lane. He may have got a speeding penalty for it, yes, but crucially, if he wanted to, he could have got that car back out again. He is out of time, unfortunately, so he will be unable to do so in the last 1 minute and 5 seconds remaining on the clock. So who is out there who can improve? Mick Barry now up into 11th. Craig Jones is in 10th. Dale Benison is in 9th. Alan Toon in 13th position. And by the looks of things, only Andreas Katz and Steve Hansford, the only ones out there. So it's a fight for who wants 9th or better.
Yeah, and this is a chance for Andreas Katz to finally get Vincenzo Amico off the top of the pylon, because he has been up there since the start of qualifying, and nobody has been able to take Amico away from that pole position spot. Now, Katz has an opportunity here.
It is a big opportunity, and that's something worth keeping in mind. Andy Maxwell apparently on brand new rig and pedals, so that is a daunting place to start, on brand new rig, brand new pedals. We saw it took Cesare Rizzo a couple of weeks to get accustomed to his new rig and pedals, but the clock will now expire here in qualifying. Andreas Katz now will make the charge up to turn number 9, the very difficult left, and also typing with the new gloves apparently. So that's why everything in his chat was looking very difficult to decipher is the right word. Through the penultimate corners then goes Andreas Katz. He's searching for a lap time from the gods, and going through that final corner, sliding it slightly through the corner. It's going to be a charge to the line. We'll see if Katz can improve. 0.57, his best at the moment. He makes it to the line of the Top Gun car. It is also an 0.57. It's not enough to improve in very overcast conditions today here at Watkins Glen. Dale Benison will make a drive to the line, but he will not improve, nor will Craig Jones. Looks like Alan Toon also diving into the pit. So everybody done in qualifying. Let's go through the starting grid and see how everyone is going to stack up then here today. It is a pole position for Vincenzo Amico in the number 78 Ronin Simsport Academy car. A 205.539 will have Andreas Katz, the reigning champion, alongside for company, also trying to keep in range with the drop rounds. Cesare Rizzo is 3rd overall, making it an all Sim Racing Studios DOF Reality 2nd row, with Dan Hunt, the championship leader, in 4th position. Peter Van Gool lines up in 5th, with Roy Vervaeke in 6th position. Andy Maxwell is 7th alongside his Optical Green teammates, and amateur category, I would say, rival Charles Kellyman. Dale Benison starts 9th with Craig Jones there in 10th position. Mick Barry, Steve Hansford and Alan Toon making up the 13 drivers who could set a lap time. Alan Toon's lap, 2.9 seconds adrift of Amico's. But from 14th on down, you've got Dan Bristow, Steve Heffer, Jamie Ayers, Carl Hardy, Anthony Larson, Martin Sampson, Mark Lutz, Ralph Cullinan, Steve Cooley and Andy Littler. All those drivers who couldn't set a lap time, doing so on their I rating levels. But it is now going to be soon in a minute the gridding process here. And Sam, when you've got a relatively okay run to turn 1, but you know you've got that run up to the carousel in the back of the mind, how important is it just to be consistent and find space on the circuit?
Well, that's just the question. Where can you find space, especially through that first part of the track when they're going up through the S's? I mean, going 2, maybe 3 wide it's going to spell danger for a lot of drivers up there, but people are, if you're brave enough to do it, then go for it. And then you got that long run down towards the carousel, like you said. It's all about getting that perfect draft and then perfect line into that corner and try and get the pass done, and then the run down through the chute into the boot. It's going to be very interesting to see where you can find that room.
Of course, it's 15 minutes set on time for race number 1. All the other races tonight will be set on a lap count, determined by how many laps it took to do race number 1. On top of this, it is going to be all about being alert. This is a track where alertness will get you places because drivers will be chopping and changing and trying to find lines every chance they can. One small mistake here will be punished massively, especially with the damage model here on these machines. They could be in a whole world of hurt. No wind really to speak of. It is not much to deal with in terms of humidity. It is 3:25 in the afternoon in sim time with a very, very cold track temperature. So expect this to be effectively the same all throughout the night. And everyone will be focused on whether Dan Hunt can recover from what was a poor week last week, or whether it will be more of the same from Amico and Cats & Co. as they try and get on through. Everyone will start then on the grid for this race number 1. Crucially, we're waiting for Mick Barry and a couple of the front runners, Dan Hunt and Andreas Katz, will make them wait before they take that run towards turn number 1 out there overall. 4 races, of course, as we've said tonight. It's going to be all about action. It's going to be all about point scoring. And, of course, Dan Hunt has that 1 race margin over Roy Viveka, who starts exactly behind him on the grid there in 6th position with the blue, I would say, roll cage there in the blue optical machine. So keep an eye out on him. Just got ourselves 45 seconds and under now, down to 40 seconds before we take to the grid. Just waiting for the championship leader. He will make everyone wait. And then the lights procedure will start to get ourselves going then for what is some amazing action. If he doesn't get on the grid within 30 seconds, he will be starting this one from pit lane. The last of the adjustments potentially being made with the setups. Not much you can change here in these MX-5s, but enough could be done to make sure to go through. Or even on top of that, trying to make sure that the tyres have enough range as possible. On the grid goes Dan Hunt. It's Amico who's got pole position. Welcome to the second half of the season. Watkins Glen is our first port of call for this second half. Green flag, and we are underway and getting ourselves going. It was a slow reaction from Vincenzo Amico, and that has allowed Andreas Katz immediately to try and cooperate here, trying to pinch as much as he can. Rizzo's got a really good start as well, and so does Van Gool as they run in towards turn number 1, then the 90 for the very first time. And wide goes Andreas Katz. He's going to drop a couple of places then as they go through. No dramas through turn number 1. Immediately, drivers now trying to find those places and gain through. Dan Bristow, for example, is very much one of them who wants to go through. And the side-by-side will immediately, as Van Gool has found a way through on Dan Hunt, who's immediately looking backwards as they fight for the race lead.
Yeah, and a big draft there down towards turn 1. We're going to have 3 wide for the lead here, coming down towards the carousel, and it's kicking off almost immediately. As Katz going to charge it through the middle here, bringing Cesare Rizzo with him. What a move here for Andreas Katz, forcing his way to the lead, but look at Rizzo round the outside, going to go through the carousel, going to have the inside line, back in, stepping out, and he's going to lose it into the Unco.
Yeah, he's clipped someone. He's going to clip everyone as they go through. And Mick Barry's going to get hit in that as well. Rolling goes Charles Kellyman. The cleanest driver in the field got caught out. And a big, big hit there in the middle of the field has certainly not helped everybody out there. So a huge accident to start then in race 1. Wide will go the likes of Dale Benison. So through goes down Bristow. Craig Jones trying to find a way through on that as well. But exactly the disaster start that not everyone wanted. Viveka, though, he's immediately eyes on third.
Yeah, and congratulations to everybody that managed to tiptoe the way around through that. Unfortunately, Mick Barry and Charles Kellerman losing out, but look at Viveka now up to P4, looking to the back of Peter Van Gool. But look at Dan Hunt making his way forward as well. He's bringing Andy Maxwell with him, who's up into P6 now in the M category.
Last thing, though, that Dan Hunt wants is to be racing optical cars. He'd had probably enough of them right now with Viveka in front, Maxwell behind, Dan Bristow there in the mix. This is going to be very awkward, but out in the lead, it is Andreas Katz from Vincenzo Amico, the top 2 as things stand. But at least for the moment here, Dan Bristow has immediately got a run. He's been so good at clawing his way through the field. Martin Sampson as well going through against Mark Lutz on the run to the 90, but a position then is not quite made just yet by Dan Bristow. He's still got to be patient at this stage, as once more it's a run up the S's, and it'll be a run towards this next section where the draft becomes so prevalent.
And we've got side-by-side behind them between Dale Benison and Steve Hefford. Hefford opting for the outside, which will turn into the inside line on the exit of the S's and gets it done on Benison. Right behind them is Craig Jones as well. Obviously, as we mentioned, the best AM driver out there last week, looking to do the same this time, but he's got Jamie Ayres right up his tail now. They're really bunched up going in towards the carousel now.
And there's also a change for the lead as Vincenzo Amico takes control away from Andreas Katz. So another change in the offing. Viveka's lost the place out. Katz isn't giving up though at the chute, so he still feels he's got an opportunity to get back at this one. And you know what? They're going to fight to the toe of the boot, but it is a cambered corner as they go on through. It's very easy to just slide it in deep and hold it there, but Amico's going to struggle off the exit and Katz is going to go over and under. You knit one to per one, and this might just be Andreas Katz regaining the lead. Fantastic battle, but they've brought Peter Van Gool to the party, which I'm pretty sure neither of them were really expecting. Benison and Larson still fighting as well for position, but still they refuse to quit after half a lap.
Yeah, it's battling all the way around. They've managed to calm themselves down after the chaos through the carousel on lap one. Rizzo, Kellerman and Barry all out, as we already mentioned, but this battle really heating up at the front, as well as Amico desperately trying to stay with Andreas Katz now as they come through the final two corners. Just not quite close enough, and look at Van Gool right on the back of Amico now.
Yeah, so Peter Van Gool has taken advantage of the big battles going on over the course of that last lap to bring himself back into play. And the opportunities now are very much there to score some points. Now, side by side on the run to the 90 there as Roy Viveka very graciously gets out of the way of the faster Daniel Bristow, who goes on through. And now all of a sudden, it will be Dan versus Dan, and you'd expect that they wouldn't give each other as much room as others. Some other battles going on behind. Martin Sampson on the back of both Larson and Benison. Benison seemingly a cork in the bottle.
Yeah, he is, and you know, Larson and Sampson are going to try and find their way through at the earliest opportunity, and it's going to be right here as, one of the grass. I believe that's Van Gool making it 3 wide.
He did. He's gone full Ryan Hunter-Ramo trying to make this pass, and has he got it done on the inside? Amico's not quite giving this one up just yet. Dan Hunt's trying to pick a line. So is Andreas Katz, but Peter Van Gool, power move to the race lead. Here comes Amico.
Side by side through the laces of the boot, as we like to call it, as they come down towards the toe, and still these guys not giving each other an inch at all as Amico takes the lead back. Katz trying to look around the outside of Van Gool, and all this battling is bringing Dan Hunt and Dan Bristow into play as well, so we're going to have a 5-car battle for the lead here.
It's not a 5-car battle, it goes all the way back to Jamie Ayres, you'd say. So it is a huge car battle for this race lead. It's many car battle. There's a little look on the outside, and that's going to cost there Peter Van Gool, because Andreas Katz just sneaks up the inside there at the heel of the boot and goes, mine, you are not having. So that is another little change. 5, though, prevalently at the front of the field. They're going to be the ones that are very much the eye catchers at this stage, but the likes of Jones, Ayres, you'd say Hefford, Maxwell and Viveka, they all very much have an equal chance. They start really battling and working out that this is not the place that they want to be in this sort of race. We talk about this being a draft race here, Sam, and that is if you are outside of 2 seconds, that's it, you are getting dropped.
Yeah, and that's the problem that Anthony Larson is facing right now, because he's fallen off the back of Jamie Ayres now, and you do not want to be that far back, especially if you want to stay with the lead pack. And Sampson is probably feeling the same way with him being right behind Larson. These guys are probably going to fall back now with them being so far back as well.
Dan Bristow through on Dan Hunt as well. That was the 4th position, getting it done at the 90 with another lovely move. But Andreas Katz still having to deal with Amico here. He's going to go and try and make the move. Bristow's going for the power move on Van Gool, but he's still grabbing the toe along from Amico. He's going to have to pick a line here, or he's going to have to back out. Ultimately, it's going to be a case of neither, and it's covered on the inside by Andreas Katz. Almost contact there, Amico and Van Gool, as they went through on lap 4 here of this race. Already 6 minutes scored on the clock. They'll be at the halfway stage on this lap, but here's Bristow. He's trying to work away to the race lead, and he's done so well. 14th a second in 4 laps is mighty impressive.
Yeah, brilliant run there for Bristow, and we've seen it time and time again. He's made these runs throughout his UK sim racing career, and he's done it again right on the back of Andreas Katz as he comes through the toe of the boot. Now that run down to the heel. Is he going to try and make a move here? He's actually close enough to make it stick if he can do it.
If he wants to, but I think he's going to choose the other option, which is the bump draft option. Hits the brakes, Amico down the inside, trying to search for the place. Behind that, though, that is Steve Hefford getting the job done then on Roy Vervaeke. Ever the opportune to finish is Roy. Doesn't necessarily get all the top 10s and top 5s in the world, but what he does is he finishes a lot of races. That's why he's often so high up in the championship. He's P2 at the moment on that merit alone, but you now count them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 car train for the race lead. Larson and Sampson not giving this one up.
No, they've actually closed the gap by a couple of tenths of a second now, so they've got their act together. Now they're going to try and close it on the back with Craig Jones. Mark Lutz running very wide through the final turn. He might lose a spot here to Ralph Cullinan.
And in fact, he will lose a spot to Ralph Cullinan. Got a little bit slidey. Grabs the wall not once but twice on the tyres. Got away with it. And then ultimately loses a place for the Troubles, which is not ideal. Side by side up the S's, though. Roy Vervaeke is going backwards. Here goes Jamie Ayres trying to figure out a way to go as he looks to also pilot past Andy Maxwell, who's having absolutely none of it. Door's going to open up then on the inside, and position is going to change. But here comes Dan Hunt on Peter Van Gool, looking to move up into fourth. Here comes Vincenzo Amico on Dan Bristow, looking for P2. Bristow a little bit boxed in, hits the brakes early, and Amico is trying to go round the outside now of Andreas Katz. He's going to wash out on that outside. He's not going to get the move, but that's how quickly positions change. Track position, so vital here in a 15-minute race.
Yeah, Van Gool was taking a look at Bristow as well, coming through the carousel. Didn't quite get the job done here. He's still right in the back of him, though. Dan Hunt and Steve Hefford, they're starting to pull away from Jamie Ayres now. That gap is 1.6 seconds, so Ayres needs to be careful. He does not want to get that gap over 2 seconds. He's going to be trying his best to try and close that gap in the last 5 minutes.
And of course, Jamie Ayres knows he was starting in 16th position today. He's up then now past all of the, I would say, wheat in the chaff, to try and get himself over to where he needs to be, which is chasing down his teammate Steve Hefford and help the Momo train. Momo at the moment are 4th, 6th and 7th at the moment in this race, and they are absolutely loving it with the way that they are scoring points at this moment to try and bring back in their team's championship. But Amico under pressure here. Dan Bristow wants to go up into second place. They move through the long left. They're sweeping through turn 10, 11 then the final corner out on circuit, and it's a case now of what sort of run can Dan Bristow get, because they've left a little bit of gap then to the Top Gun red machine of Andreas Katz. So they've got themselves time to chase down. The gap is 6.5 tenths of a second. That is very much recoverable on these straights.
Yeah, it is very much recoverable. That draft is very, very prevalent, especially, like I said, if you're within 2 seconds of the driver in front of you. And that is important for Amico. If they can stop battling for a second and try and close that gap, they might actually have a chance in this one. And it looks like they're doing that now, because look at the gap coming down now, Jake.
It is absolutely carving down. 10th on 10th being ravaged away from Andreas Katz, who's punching the hole in the air for everyone. We're 3 wide here as we make the run to the carousel once again. Hunt's getting through then as they go through, and Amico decisively going to the inside will take the race lead for the moment. Bristow not giving up, nor is Andreas Katz. They're going to fight 2 wide here for second position. Amico's going to cover off Katz on the outside, take the natural progressive line in. Bristow so aggressive on the inside, nearly tapping the back there of Amico, but ultimately they stay as is. Train of 6 has formed again.
Absolutely. 6 cars involved in this one. 6 cars going to battle it out for the race win here, and you still got to say that as Van Gool's starting to fall off the boil a little bit. He's fallen to the back of that train behind Steve Hefford.
Certainly has, and well, Steve Hefford here is through, and now look at Van Gool. He's going to bump draft his teammate. He knows that Steve Hefford is very much a Mr. Race 2, and a little bit wider has to go Dan Bristow through the heel of the boot, because sticking his nose, some may argue where it didn't belong there, was Andreas Katz, trying to be greedy there, trying to be an opportunistic driver and see if there was anything available. There wasn't, but that's the sort of mood that you would say in the real world would end definitely in a turning across the nose and an accident. but some great heads-up driving denied any of that from being a reality at this point. Second pack, really interesting as well. That is now a train of a train of 6, and they're all fighting it out for the final spots in the top 10.
Yeah, look at the power move by Dan Hunt, I apologise. Taking a little peek to the inside of Andreas Katz, not really getting the move done. Had to fall back in line, though, because that door was left wide open for Steve Efford to possibly take advantage of it. Meanwhile, further back, Jamie Ayres doing his best to hold off. Andy Maxwell has turned up the wick now at the end of this one.
He certainly has. There's 2 laps to go here at Watkins Glen, and both drivers all drivers know they're going to make moves. They're going to have to do it now, and this is the place. It's on for the lead then as Dan Bristow tries to go through, and look at this. There's hardly a gap there for Andreas Katz, but he still threads it, and he has to give the room as they go through there. 3 wide on the straight, and Katz with the power move, almost as they fan through in pentagon formation. Andreas Katz with a big move to the lead. Big scrap goes on behind as well, with it's Martin Sampson now moving up into what is 9th place.
Yeah, and battling all over the place, and a bit further back you got Anthony Larson now who's caught this pack, trying to get around Roy Vervaeke, sorry, I apologise, but at the front is just absolutely frantic between these guys. They know they're running out of time. This is the penultimate lap here at Watkins Glen. They've got to get those moves done very quickly.
Yeah, Dan Hunt now down into 5th position. Here comes Bristow for the race lead. He wants to try and get through on Andreas Katz at the heel of the boot, and he has done so. But is that a wise decision here? As now here comes the up and under attempt. When you know you've got that big long straight on the final lap, you don't want to be leading going into lap last.
No, you don't, as Bristow does take the lead away from Katz as they come up the hill towards the final 2 corners now. This 6-car breakaway is really going on. It's Hefford, very aggressive on the inside of Amico. Doesn't get the job done. Good defending by the number 78.
But they're allowing a gap to the front too. They can't afford to let them get away, otherwise they're not going to have a chance to attack this one. How clever are you going to be? Final lap then, white flag being waved by Barney the flagman there in the iRacing gantry. Let's get things going here. 6 drivers, 1 chance of victory. Who's going to take it? Bristow in front. You've got Katz there in 2nd position. It's Amico chasing the gap down. They're in 3rd, and it's all kicking off as well behind in the 2nd pack as well, as Sampson now is side by side with Andy Maxwell up the hill through the S's section, trying to find and get this one done. Here comes Katz, though, to the race lead on the outside of 4 on the run up then towards the carousel. This is the place if you're going to want to get it done. The time to get it done is now. Amico hard charging as he goes through. He wants to try and move, and he's moving with Hefford as well. You can see some Talladega tactics. It's 4 wide on the inside. They're going through. There's going to be drama. Into the wall. Almost they go. Somehow they're all together. Katz takes the lead. Hunt into 2nd. Amico takes a bite out of Hefford, and then suddenly Momo 3 and 4, and they're fighting for the podium. Just like that. There was no contact with any wall, but 4 wide, you knew there was going to be contact there, and all of a sudden, in the 2nd pack, Anthony Larson has found his way through on Jamie Ayres. So now that's another battle that's done well. Still side by side at the toe of the boot, and it's going to be Van Gool trying to shut the door, but he's not going to be able to here on his teammate there of Steve Hefford. Amico trying to find a way through Bristow there in 6th position. He looked like an odds-on bet to be up there on that podium after the way that he's been driving. Still not over yet, though, as they reach the heel of the boot. Andreas Katz doing a good enough job as he's got the driver behind who leads the championship there, Dan Hunt, who has been so quiet, so shrewd, so wily to get himself up into 2nd position. They're still fighting the 2nd pack now as Larson's lost out to Sampson, and now he's going to lose out to Vervaeke and potentially Maxwell as well. Through the final 2 corners, though, they will come along, and it will be very close for 3rd. Through, though, in 2nd position, it will be Dan Hunt, because your winner as they drive to the line, deservedly so, for the aggressiveness, Andreas Katz, 3 wide to the line for 4th.
What a finish to the race that was, and the contact for the carousel. 4 wide into the carousel. What a finish, what a moment to see that happen right there, as the battling behind them really took a very aggressive toll as well. Jamie Ayres coming off the worst in that one. He really got a big whack in the toe of the boot there on the final lap.
Yeah, and that's what really hurts. You get a whack in the toe with the boot, and then you've got to try and recover it. It's going to be close quarters combat here today. You can't afford to sit and wait. Before we, though, go to our official classified results, what we are going to do right now is spin our spinning wheel. We're going to get an idea of where we are going to put ourselves into play for race number 2 and see how much work some of these drivers are going to have to do here tonight.
And for the first time tonight, it is number 10.
It's a stern 10-car reverse grid then for this first one. It will put Andy Maxwell on the pole position for that. Confirmation of result then is going to be as follows. Andreas Katz, the reigning champion, picks up the win, 17 minutes and a second, and managed to do so by 2/10 in the end over Dan Hunt as they fought incredibly over towards the end. Steve Hefford managed to pick up third ahead of Vincenzo Amico, Peter Van Gool, and Dan Bristow there in P number 6, with Martin Sampson in 7th, 8th for Roy Vervaker, 9th going to Anthony Larson, and it was Andy Maxwell who rounds out the top 10 and will get pole for race 2. Ralph Cullinan then is 11th on the outside looking in, gains 10 places with Mark Lutz up 8 into 12th. Then following that is Craig Jones, and Jamie Ayres shuffled all the way back to 14th and would have been in the reverse were it not for that hit. Then it was Dale Bennison and Steve Hansford, Carl Hardy, Steve Cooley, Alan Toon there in 19th, with 20th going to Andy Littler, and the 3 retirees very early on, all caught up in the same chain reaction accident. Cesare Rizzo, the cleanest driver, Charles Kellyman, and Mick Barry on top of that as well. We're going to grab ourselves an opportunity to chat with a driver here and a driver there, and well, no better place to look than a driver who did a very good job here in that one, picked up 3rd position overall in that race, up 12 places for that one, Steve Hefford. Steve, you have to look at that race and say an absolutely massive positive. It's very, very easy to get yourself boxed in around this place, but you seemingly weaved through the traffic without any issues at all.
Yeah, it was quite a decent race. You got draft everywhere though, and the draft is a major. I've never felt it so strong this season. I thought they dialed it back quite a bit, but here, I mean, it is a notoriously drafty track, and yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it.
Very much did enjoy it. Let's talk about those final few laps then, because it looked like everything was teeing up for something amazing, and then you throw it in the final lap, you're 4 wide into the carousel. Just talk us through the mindset.
Yeah, I knew something was going to kick off, and I could see I'd gone in wide to try and get a run out. You can run up around the top there. So I thought I'd try something different rather than just sit behind people. And anyway, and I saw the cars inside. I saw them coming together, and I knew they were going to run off the track in front of me. So I had to have a bit of a lift. I got a contact from, I think it was Vincenzo, coming back on the track. I got a little bit of a punt which slowed me down, but I don't think there was any real damage. So yeah, it was a action-packed couple of laps.
Certainly was action-packed. And well, let's talk about this next race coming up. You'll be starting from 8th place on the grid for that one. Feeling confident after the work that was done in race 1?
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, you can have big accidents around here which block the track in certain places, but you just got to hope for the best, really, on the first couple of laps. Take it easy. And then once the tyres come to, it's probably usually about lap 3, then you can think about moving forward then. Having said that, if a chance opens up, you can't not take it, really.
Absolutely. So before we let you go then, Hef, shout out sponsors, anyone you'd like to thank.
You guys, same as everyone. Everyone who takes part, really, as usual, and makes it what it is, to be fair.
No worries at all then. Steve Hefford, a important 3rd place then to start things off after a exclusion from qualifying barred him from that. So great work there from Steve Hefford. We're going to step aside though very briefly. One moment here with us at ESPN. Back with more after this. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to this fantastic Watkins Glen circuit, the classic boot layout for this action that we are bringing to you. This is your UK Sim Racing MX-5 Pro Series, 7th week of 12 that we are racing here as the road to Long Beach, California continues through here. It's going to be a lot more of a, how do I put this, sunnier affair for this second race as we go on through. That should keep the tyres very much in check. Jake Sperry, Sam Cooper-Bennett. I'm talking a little bit too fast right now. But, Sam, one thing that we have been asked here in our YouTube chat as we go through is who is the fan favourite as they go through. Now, I'd say that the fan favourite here in terms of this race is whoever you want it to be. Because at the end of the day, everyone here is a fan and nobody likes a bandwagon fan.
Absolutely not. I mean, everybody is as talented as the other in this league and any other league that we broadcast. I mean, whoever you pick, whoever you back as your driver is whoever your fan favorite is going to be. But at the end of the day, it all comes down to talent, and everybody's, like I said, just everybody's as talented as each other. And yeah, you can have your own fans, but just you just got to have a rod for your own back, pretty much.
Exactly. And that's what I love to see when it comes to grassroots sim racing, like, for example, this definitely does feel like at this point in time. We've had one race in the books. We've got 3 more to come along. The 10-car reverse grid definitely going to shake up a couple things. A couple drivers on the wrong end of that. The big one being Jamie Ayres, who's got a lot of work to do to get back through the field. Had an outside shot of the championship last season. This season, again, it feels very much like last season. Early, a lot of things haven't fallen into place. With drop rounds, will be up there towards the end.
Yeah, Dan Hunt is in exactly the same position as he was last season. Obviously, Andreas Katz, he's a bit further down the table this season, and his closest competitor is a man that hasn't won a race all season. So, similar circumstances, just a different competitor this time around.
I'd certainly agree in terms of this situation. It's very much a case of keep yourself nice and calm, make sure all the points that are scored are just going to be trundling in again and again and again. You look at people like Vincenzo Amico and Dan Bristow, they are very much in the right places at the right times to go and capitalise, especially when you consider, and we keep saying this at this point in time, Dan Bristow has a week in the back pocket. Amico's got no weeks in the back pocket, or it's going to be a very difficult championship to go out and win if you don't have races or race meetings in the back pocket. For example, Donington will be one of them for Dan Hunt, which he will definitely be using as one of his drop rounds.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure Summit Point will be the other one. He had a poor night there as well, so that's 2 in the back pocket for him. But it's been a very up and down season for Dan Hunt. He's made a few costly mistakes as well. Hopefully they don't come back and bite him when we get to Long Beach later in the season.
Yeah, it's a long road to Long Beach, and we go through a whole host of incredible circuits. Gilles Villeneuve next week, Sebring is after that, Imola, Road Atlanta, Long Beach. That is the run-in for the championship, and if anything's to go there, it is going to be a really important time to just make sure that you are picking up points one after the other after the other. I think that is going to be the port of call here, Sam, that you see. Just put one foot in front of the other, just focus race on race.
Absolutely. Just keep your focus, try and keep your best momentum possible, put your best foot forward, and hopefully it comes out right for you at the end. And lots of racing action left to go here. We've only just hit the halfway point, and it's going to get more exciting from here. The one I'm personally looking forward to, Gilles Villeneuve, a street track of sorts. It's going to be pretty close affair around there.
Certainly will be. So keep your eyes peeled for that here with ESPN, your esports broadcasting network. Let's get ourselves, though, into position. Today is a time and a place, and I'm sure that race 2, one that wants to be conducted pretty swiftly in the not too distant future. They have done their last call. There were a couple drivers that they were looking at saying, oh, we're not quite there, we're not quite in sim, we're looking for just a little couple of things here before we are ready to get ourselves going. And I'm sure those discussions will certainly continue out there as they go on through. But now you've got to be very alert here, Sam. And we talk about alertness with the way we drive. You've also got to talk about alertness on how you try and construct a move. You've got to make them cleanly here at Watkins, Glen. Otherwise, you're going to spend the next half a lap fighting for it. You're going to lose 2 seconds. Checkered flag, though, is out, though, in this practice server. We're going to jump over to the race. It's going to be an 8-lap race from now until the end. So keep your heads on a swivel. This is the time. This is the place. This is where amazing racing happens. Andy Maxwell will be on the pole position with Anthony Larson there in second. Roy Vervaeke is third with Martin Sampson in fourth position. Then it's Daniel Bristow and Peter Van Gool. Vincenzo Amico seventh and Steve Hefford in eighth. Dan Hunt goes from ninth with Andreas Katcher, winner in race 1 in 10th place. Ralph Cullinan and Mark Lutz on row 6. Then it's Craig Jones and Jamie Airsdale Bennison, Steve Hansford, Carl Hardy, Steve Cooley, Alan Toon, Andy Littler, Mick Barry, Charles Kellyman, all the way back there in P number 22. It looks like then for this field, we are going to be in a very interesting battle. No Cesare Rizzo, it seems, here at this point in time. So he will definitely be missing out on some big points, and that is going to be a big shame for Ches and the run that he'll be going through from 23 drivers down to just the 22. But now is the chance that I'm sure people are looking for. Here we go then. Watkins Glen, race number 2. Lights are on. Lights are out. And we are underway. It's a little bit of a fits and start there for a couple of drives, a little slow. Maxwell got a good getaway, and it wasn't as good there for Roy Vervaeke, which immediately allows Martin Sampson to go alongside as they make the run to the 90 for the first time. All 3 of the optical blue cars, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. As they make the run, there's contact already around Ayers. It's Mark Lutz, and one of the result cars has gone around in a spin there at the back. It's Craig Jones who's been caught out, and crucially, Dan Hunt.
Yeah, bit of a unfortunate start there for Dan Hunt as he's fallen back, and yeah, Craig Jones, a poor start for him. Mark Lutz, another poor start for him, but he's going to be hopefully getting back up there. But look at the start here. We've got 3 wide coming down towards the carousel once again here, Jake.
We certainly do, and it's Roy Vervaeke taking the big aggressive line and getting the move done. Wonderfully constructed. Still 3 wide in the middle of the corner. 2 Momo cars there of Ayers and Van Gool, effectively splitting the middle there by Amico as they dive through. Again, Sampson being a little bit cautious here because Amico is once more charging as they go through, and Larson now with an opportunity to attack as they go towards the toe of the boot in the battle for the lead. Great battles up and down. It's going to be covered on the inside then by one Mr. Roy Vervaeke. Amico going around the outside then of Dan Bristow. A wonderful move, and it's still going to try and shuttle along with Martin Sampson there for company. Great work on the side draft.
Yeah, and Van Gool has already put a massive gap on Jamie Ayres now. That was owing to the chaos on lap 1 that took out Dan Hunt, unfortunately. But this big pack at the front, they're still trying to find their spots right now. But Vervaeke going to lead them out of the boot now onto the NASCAR part of the track, and still very close as Hefford having a bit of a scary moment there.
Yeah, Hefford had to deal with Martin Sampson, who was coming across, who couldn't have control of it. They're going to be pretty much door to door. In the grass again goes Martin Sampson. He's got the inside though for the final corner then, and is going to hold on. Worth noting on lap 1, it wasn't a crash for one Mr. Dan Hunt. He literally just pulled it off the side of the road and put it in the pit. So I think he's had a failure of some kind, which means he's out of it. But through they go into turn 1, the 90 again. Larson in control of things here, but Amico and Maxwell side by side. Got Andreas Katz as well fighting hard then with Martin Sampson. This is an important pack that's got away. They're going to be figuring this out for the entirety of this 8-lap event.
And if you're Jamie Ayres, you've got to be thinking, what have I got to do to try and keep up with these guys? Because for the second race in a row, he's fallen away from the lead pack and he's fallen back into the clutches of Steve Hansford. It's a very difficult night so far for Jamie Ayres, and it's all for his own, through no fault of his own, as we go almost 4 wide going into the carousel. Amico forcing his way through the middle this time.
He certainly does, and now you're starting to see where the power moves come into play. You've got to get track position. It's now a Ronin Simmons Sport 1-2 here in this race. As side by side they are for third, Steve Hefford. Then on the outside, dealing with Roy Viveka there, who will now be on the outside going to the toe of the boot. But Andreas Katz there quietly trying to shufty away through and get down onto the middle, and he's going to pick one up on what is Roy Viveka, who drops back behind Dan Bristow, allows the quicker driver to go out there and attack, and this is going to be a long race from here on in. Second pack as well, Dale Bennison holding a really nice train behind, so some good work being done. Dan Hunt is back out there again, and I'm very intrigued to see what happened there on the start, because it looked like something didn't quite play ball there with Dan Hunt, and that's why he's dropping a lot of places.
Yeah, back out on track. Unfortunately, he's 2 laps down now, as here comes Steve Hefford now, taking a look on the inside of Anthony Larson, going into the penultimate corner on the track, and look at Andreas Katz trying to make his way through. This will be the outside going into the final corner, thinks better of it and just backs out of it going into the final corner. Might have a run now going down towards turn 1, and he does.
That was the plan, and Dan Bristow here is going to bump, and there's a little bit of an issue there behind as they went through almost a huge drama as they tried to figure it out. So they're all okay. Still though, top 2 starting to break, and this is what they've got to be careful of here. Too much infighting that allow drivers to break away off the front.
Yeah, and remember what we saw in race 1, that drafting really helping the guys close back up once again, and you've got to watch for Anthony Larson here. He's going to use that draft to close to the back of Steve Hefford once again. Is he going to have enough time to make a run? But we'll find out. But here comes Bristow now on the outside of Larson.
Yep, and Andreas Katz trying to thread the needle here, figure out a move as he tries to hit the brakes into that carousel corner. And again on that outside, Bristow's going to hold the line and stay steady. He will sneak away with the toe, but ultimately has to hold his line as Katz wrests it back. The control is there, but Bristow loves going deep into that chute corner, and that is why he is holding on to that 4th place for now. It is Amico who leads. It is Hefford in 2nd. It is Larson now in 3rd. And Larson's job, you would say, in this pack at this moment in time, as Ayers has found the back now of Andy Maxwell, is to just be a nuisance. As Bristow runs a little bit wide, Larson is doing a great job of holding everyone at bay.
Yeah, doing a great job indeed, and he's just and it's not very easy to keep Katz and Bristow behind her, as here comes Katz now to the inside of Larson, and Larson doing a good job just squeezing Katz ever so slightly, not too aggressively, but just enough to keep him behind. Does it again through the final turn, coming onto the NASCAR bend, and now he's able to stay out in front, and that's let Katz get to the inside of Bristow, taking advantage of that.
Yeah, he's going to dive down the inside there at 10. You can hold it too wide. Bristow's going to be out in the weeds, though. He's going to have to bring it back on track, and he drops a place because of it. Sampson gets a little bit on the grass as well, going through that final corner. All of that has brought Van Gool and Ayers and Maxwell back onto this group, and once more, they will challenge. Top 2, by the way, have nearly a second on Anthony Larson. That's how hard they're racing to try and break away at the front, and a bit of side-by-side as well for 11th and 12th. Steve Cooley and Steve Hansford in a Steve battle as Steve passes Steve.
Yeah, and it's all kicking off here as we noticed the line they were all taken through turn 1 there. Everybody using the runoff in that front pack right now just to get as much space as they can on the run up towards the S's. Get it all done, and look at the inside line, the outside line there for Steve Hefford. He's going to try the big power move into the carousel on Amico. Get it done. Big move there by Hefford.
And it's not done behind as well. Katz fighting Larson. He's going to get the inside for the shoot. And that might just be exactly what he was hoping for then. You've got Viveka and Sampson side by side. And now Bristow's going to try and follow. He tags the back of Katz. Katz is going to go around then. And bang, secondary contact. They take each other out. Katz spinning back across the circuit. Van Gool, I think, has just about avoided that one. Andreas Katz and Dan Bristow both in trouble.
Yeah, and I had memories of that UC Yakola incident that you mentioned earlier in the broadcast there, Jake, through exactly the same part of the track, and could have ended so much worse.
Blown engine.
We do have a blown engine.
Larson's got a blown engine. He avoided it and then forgot to shift it, seems, and he's blown the engine up.
Oh, and that is a shame for Anthony Larson. I was putting such a great performance on up until that happened, and now it's all gone up in smoke.
It effectively has, and that is a real shame. It has completely neutered the front group, you would say, at this point. So, Hefford leads it. In second, it's Amico. It's Martin Sampson now up to third, with Viveka fourth and Maxwell in fifth. Jamie Ayers in sixth position, Vangal seventh. Something I do need to point out right now, this is a great week so far for Andy Maxwell and those AM category points.
It is, because his closest competitor, Charles Kellerman, having a difficult start to the night. He's retired from race 1 all the way down in P13 in race 2. It's just more bonus points there for Maxwell, and he's actually not finished here. He's putting a move. Actually, no, Maxwell just lost a position to Jamie Ayres, so he gets put one position back.
Yeah, so Jamie Ayres getting the move done. Here comes Amico again. Lap 5 here out of 8. Searching for chances then to make something happen. The 78 and the 72 looking for some big points weeks. Now look at how much of a, I would say, a track general Hefford's trying to be. He takes the middle of the road and wants to try and pinch Amico as much as he can to the outside. You normally get a driver who is very much dominant on the track and someone who is very much submissive when it comes to a 2-on-2 battle. And in that case, it was Hefford, you would say, who was the aggressor.
Yeah, it was very much using his track knowledge there to fend off Amico. They're managing to pull away from Martin Sampson as well, so they're not going to be having any threat from behind for now. But if they keep battling the way they are, that will close those two optical blue cars in, and they will be under threat once again.
I tell you what, there have been some great drives here in this race. Steve Cooley, for example, right now finds himself very much in 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th place at the moment, up 10, battling hard with Ralph Cullinan, who wants to try and get on by. But this is a pack that's so important because Andreas Katz, who's coming up to that one, will have 3 laps to get through about 7 cars. First and foremost, Alan Toon. He gets a good drive here, and he'll have to do it around the outside here of this off-camber turn number 9. If he wants to go and get this one done, he takes the big wide line with the flatter, I would say, run around it, and it has just about worked out.
Yeah, and Alan Toon, ever the gentleman driver, just lets him sail around the outside, give him plenty of room and get the job done. So Katz up one more position up to P14. Still has a lot more work to do, though, in that number 1 Top Gun machine. He does have Kellerman and Hardy just ahead of him. Both of those drivers not easy to get around.
No, not easy, not by any stretch of the imagination. Dan Hunt is on the leading lap, by the way, but he is a fair ways away at this point in time. He's over a minute down. He will score points, but not many, down there in 19th position at this moment in time, which will soon be 18th position with Anthony Larson's blown engine. That much we do know is very, very clear. The one retiree so far is Andy Littler, as they all battle up the hill. Great work. So 2 wide, Cullinan and Cooley are. And now we're going to have Benison, Hardy and Kellyman all trying to figure out where they need to be placed.
Yeah, and it looks like Cullinan's going to win that battle between himself and Cooley. Cooley going to try and come back at him. Doesn't quite pay off for him. Hansford right there as well in his optical green machine. Watch for him. He's going to be a threat. But Carl Hardy and Dale Benison going side by side into the chute right here. Watch for Kellerman right behind him. He's going to give him plenty of space. But look at Katz. He's right on the back of these guys now. Didn't waste any time at all, did he?
No time wasted. He'll want to get through quickly, and if he wants to strike while the iron's hot, he's got to look at the first available opportunity to go and make something happen. Immediately goes to the inside at the toe of the boot and gets one for his troubles, and then he'll slip into the draft. He'll look to attack Dale Benison here into the heel of the boot. So just like that, positions are changing at this point. It's about 2 seconds as well. Hefford and Amico to Martin Sampson. Sampson's desperately trying to get back up there, but is trying to defend the optical blue lead at the moment, when you consider you got Ayers and Vangal behind the 2 Momo cars.
Yeah, that is a team championship battle going on right now. 3rd and 4th, you've got optical blue. 4th and 5th, you've got Momo. So these two going at it for team championship honours right now. If not, definitely not the race win at the moment, because the gap is now 2.3 seconds between them and Steve Hefford.
Yeah, the gap is very much high up in the order, so we will definitely see whether that will stay as such as things stands. Ayers through on Viveka though, and is given 3 license then to go out there and attack. 2 laps to go here at the Glen, and now you've got to figure out where is the place to get some moves. So Amico and Hefford side by side, they might start playing that old game of cat and mouse here, Sam, where I don't want to lead going on to the final lap, and I don't want to lead going on to the final lap, and they might just both start slowing down and checking each other up, trying to make sure that they are the slower driver of the two.
Yeah, they do, and you don't want to be leading because you're going to be stuck in that draft. As here comes Ayers trying to split the 2 optical cars. Doesn't quite happen. Viveka coming back at Ayers here, actually, and going to go through the inside, through the carousel, down the chute right now. And Ayers going to have the preferred line going through there, as Van Gool going to try and follow him through. That was a very close run thing for those 3.
And importantly, Maxwell there also. 3 optical cars, 2 blue, 1 green against the 2 Momo cars. This is a big battle in terms of how they try and figure this out between each other. It's still not done. Viveka is trying to battle for everything he's got to allow Martin Sampson enough time to break away, and that is the crucial fact. He's got to try and break away from this group. They are too wide, too deep into the heel of the boot, and just again, Maxwell's turn now to strike. Ayers is through, but they can stop Van Gool, who's thinking of the inside here as he tries to go through, and he's going to make contact behind. Fortunately, with the net code, they stay all nicely calm.
Yep, the Belgian and the Dutchman come into contact there through the final part of the boot as they come through the final 2 corners. Now, that might affect Van Gool right there. That damage on that bumper does look pretty sizable. So he's going to have to manage that one to the end of the race as we come on to the pit straight right now. White flag is in the air.
1 lap to go. Steve Hefford, 3rd place in race 1, wants to pick up a victory here in race 2. He is Mr. Race 2 when he gets out there and knows how to race it. You've got Amico there in 2nd position, a driver who is very much in the championship fight. As things stand, Martin Sampson trying to fend off 3rd here for the optical blue team after what happened to Bristow. Got some great scrapping going on here. Looks like wide as well, losing a couple places has been Andreas Katz through turn number 1. He was right there and has been masterminded out with the drafters. Cooley now goes for place. We got battles all the way through, and there's a bit of chopping off then from Vincenzo Amico, who slams the door shut on Steve Hefford. He's now going to have to find an unconventional way to get the place, because you know what? Amico's going to chase him down into pavements then as they reach the chute as they go through. The next left-hander, Vincenzo Amico, knows that in the front of this field he's got probably one big braking zone he's got to fear, and it's the heel of the boot. So now he's having to defend it here from one Mr. Steve Hefford, who is really having to pick and choose his lines as he goes on through, because he's not getting the preferential treatment from the Ronin Simsport Academy car at this stage. But 3rd, Ayers is through on Sampson, and still you got Viveka fighting hard with Van Gool as they continue to fight all the way to the extremities of the track. Go Steve Hefford. He's worked away to the inside. They're going to make contact together. Hefford is going to go around. Amico is going to scamper on through, and he is going to get the result then of a victory. As things go, that surely will go to the stewards. Looked like a racing incident every single stage of the way. Ayers is running slightly wide though, and it's not over for 2nd here, as here comes Martin Sampson trying to find a way to get himself one more place. But one thing is for certain here as they now head to the final corner. It is Vincenzo Amico who will, for the Ronin Simsport Academy, cross the line, take the victory. Sampson is in the wall as they come towards the line, and Maxwell might just steal this one over the stripe. Maxwell has stolen a podium.
Yeah, great run there to the end for Andy Maxwell, and we saw earlier on in the race that he was looking very threatening, especially with regards to getting around those 2 Momo cars. He only got around 1 in Peter Van Gool, but definitely taking advantage of his optical teammate just getting into the wall there near the end. A very costly mistake there for Martin Sampson.
Very costly, as it has just costed a podium, and that sometimes is the finest margin between victory and defeat. Last 2 drivers then will be a long time coming here in this one. So confirmation of result then we will get up on your screen in just a moment, because before we do that, we're going to spin that wheel and we're going to work out where everyone is stacking up for race 3 of the night. Let's work out where the grid is going to be formed.
And for the second spin, it's going to be number 8.
8, so another small reverse grid that's in the mines. That will put Ralph Cullinan then on the pole position for race number 3. So confirmation result then, Vincenzo Amico picks up the victory, 17 minutes, 5 seconds, does so by 1.8 over Jamie Ayres in second, and Andy Maxwell sneaking home to pick up a third place finish ahead of his teammate, but in a different colour, Martin Sampson. Peter Van Gore will take 5th with Roy Vervaeke 6th. Steve Hefford ends up with only 7th after that spin, and Ralph Cullinan ends up with 8th place. It was 9th for Steve Cooley, a 10th place for Andreas Katz, recovering back there to 10th, with Carl Hardy in 11th, and 12th going to Steve Hansford. 13th would end up in the back pocket of Charles Kellyman. Good progress up through the field, with Dale Benison 14th and Mark Lutz in 15th places. Craig Jones then gets 16th with Alan Toon 17th. Dan Hunt, after pulling the car over, gets 18th, with Mick Barry then the last finisher in 19th position. The 3 retirees, Anthony Larson, Daniel Bristow, and Andy Littler, with it all to do then in race number 3 here tonight. But we are going to get the opportunity to go out there and have a little chat and conversation with a driver here and a driver there. We're going to bring in Andy Maxwell, leader of the Amateur Category Championship, in for a conversation. Andy, well, first of all, that was a very nice steal at the end on that podium, but talk us through starting on pole position and effectively having a very hard charging field behind you that was desperately wanting to sort itself out.
Hey Jake, hey Sam, thanks for having me on. Yeah, that was an interesting race. I was really concentrating on just surviving, getting through, making sure I was hopefully clean, and letting those that want to argue, and just wait patiently.
And patience seemed to be the best virtue out there today, especially when you consider with the way that this race has really formed. Of course, your I would say teammate of sorts, Dan Bristow, ran into troubles out there. Anthony Larson did. Andreas Katz did. Did you feel like today was going to be really important, seeing as especially how the reverse grids have been working? A lot of your amateur category challengers have been there in the mid to late pack, and you have been more up there in the fight for the races.
Yeah, I'm just thankful to take this opportunity to try and hopefully extend the lead if I can, and just keep it going and respectful racing and just having it.
Well, talking of respectful racing, it's an 8-car reverse for this next race coming up. You're going to be starting this one then from 6th position on the grid. How important is it to get a good start, especially considering that Ralph Cullinan's going to be on pole position?
Oh yeah, I mean the starts are always useful, and trying to get around the first lap safely without incidents and avoiding any others. It's going to be very, very important. So I'm very mindful of Ralph and my teammate Charles. So yeah, best of luck.
Best of luck is needed. Before we let you go, Andy, shout out sponsors, anyone you'd like to thank.
Obviously, Team Optical, Blue and Green, and Charles for inviting me in, and obviously you guys doing a wonderful job at streaming, and everyone else on the grid.
No worries at all there. Andy Maxwell, 3rd position overall. Every reason to be excited with that little bit of work that's gone on. We're going to step aside, though, once again. Race 3 of 4 tonight will be coming up after this. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the UK Sim Racing MX-5 Pro Series here at Watkins, Glen. We are here for some great sim racing action, and we've got 2 more races in the offing for it. Another small reverse, a little longer wait than we were expecting. A server that failed to launch, the reason why we're a little bit behind on schedule for this one. Jake Sperry along for the ride with 6th of the field, under half both times, is that they've got to do a lot more work against relative drivers.
That they have, and it's always difficult to try and make your way through the pack like it has been, and so many times in the past we've seen so many chaotic moments where faster drivers have tripped over slower drivers, like pro drivers versus AM category drivers, and it's ended in chaos. Hopefully that's not the case here, but with it being Watkins Glen, you can never count that out.
You certainly can't. This is one of the few circuits where you can make moves, and you can make a lot of moves on top of that, which certainly will help out in the long and the short. But at least for the time being, you would have to probably say and argue that this has been a tough battle out there, especially towards the front. It's very tactical. It's very much eyes on where you need to go. Is it left? Is it right? Are you going to thread it 3 wide, 4 wide? You know, there's so many things that you look at this circuit that you wouldn't necessarily have to worry about at other circuits where they are maybe a lot more simpler than long drafting straights with such a strong draft as Rule 1 gets completely ignored between Charles Kellyman and Dan Bristow, who both find themselves in the wall, proving my point on the run-up towards turn number 5 at the carousel.
Yeah, and it's that run down to the carousel we've seen already tonight. Lots of daring moves been taken down towards that corner, most notably that 4 wide incident we saw between the top 4 drivers in race 1. We're going to see a lot more of that, I'm pretty sure, this evening. It's going to be very, very interesting to see how they handle it.
Certainly will be. What will be very interesting is to talk about how those points have just started to claw themselves back down in terms of the overall. It's back to 103 points, so even points haul between Hunt and Viveka over the course of this one so far. Sampson still remains in third at 128 points down overall, but some very difficult runs have been going through. For example, Bristow now down behind Amico in terms of the championship, and with 2 drop rounds used by Vincenzo Amico, he is having a really, really good season. And if he can continue on this form, he's got 574 points to Dan Hunt. You consider those with drop rounds, and he'll have 2 zeros in the back of the pocket. That's going to be a case of 570. He needs, what, 2 rounds of 285 or better? That's very manageable for someone like Amico.
Yeah, and at the same time, Dan Hunt is having these little issues that are really starting to add up on him, especially with what happened in race 2, that technical issue. Really biting him right there, and it's little things like that that'll add up, and Dan Hunt has got to know that in the back of his mind, that if these things keep happening to him, he could be in a very, very tight battle come the end of the season.
Very much could do, but when we know that battles get tight and battles get close, that's where you see the true colours starting to come out in terms of the racing that we have got. I can tell you something, over the course of our last 7 races that we have held here at this place, or in this series, we've had 7 different race winners, but the grid is going to stack up as follows. Ralph Cullinan will be on the pole position with Steve Hefford and Roy Viveka 2nd and 3rd. Then it's Peter Van Gool, Martin Sampson, and Andy Maxwell 5th and 6th, with Jamie Ayres 7th. Vincenzo Amico there in 8th. Steve Cooley in 9th, and Andreas Katz in 10th. Then it's Carl Hardy, Steve Hansford, Charles Kellyman, Dale Bennison, Mark Lutz, Craig Jones, Alan Toon, Dan Hunt in 18th, Mick Barry, Anthony Larson in 20th, Daniel Bristow in 21st, Andy Littler in 22nd. Again, it'll be another 8 laps worth of racing action to put into the books. Again, it is going to be another difficult race to try and go out there and win. Again, who is going to find exactly what they need? All the drivers now will be allowed onto the grid for this one. Just waiting for the one driver, that is Mick Barry, to take his place on the grid, and he does so right now. So now the lights procedure will start. They'll get the engine notes up. Race 3 tonight here at Watkins Glen. It will start
Green.
right around now, and they get themselves underway. Good start there by Cullinan. Little bit of wheel spin, but not enough to really be challenged by Steve Hefford there in second position. A nice go and get go from pretty much everyone. Watch out for the 90, see how they charge on away through, and it's a clean start as they go through and now look to charge up through the S's section, and this is where it's going to start getting dicey here. Drivers figuring out where they need to be, who they need to place. Viveka side by side almost, and will be here with Peter Van Gool, who definitely wants to go through and jump up into third position, looking to help his team out. Sampson giving absolutely none of it then as they charge, and here come the two wide battles.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting, and obviously again the first run down towards the carousel going to be interesting. Look at Viveka trying to make a gap on the inside there. Is it going to pay off for him? Run on the grass there. Very tight line into the carousel. Going to jump up and into the side of Cullinan.
There were three wide, too deep. They're still three wide on the exit here as they go through. I think Martin Sampson struggling a little bit there as they now go into the chute. Cullinan still on the inside. He's going to fight for third here, trying to go down on that inside track. It has allowed Hefford into the race lead. It's got Viveka in second position as they go through. There will be questions about that, whether protests and penalties will need to come in and be applied for it, as Bristow and Barry fight towards the rear of the field as they all try and go through. Has everybody got through cleanly? Pretty much, as the few drivers then struggling towards the back. Lutz, Kellyman, Larson, Toon and Littler. Wonder if there was anything that happened there towards the back that was worth keeping in mind. There was a big pile up there in the mid to late pack as Lutz and I believe Kellyman came together there. Kellyman has had an atrocious night, and it's not been his fault.
Yeah, and let's take a look at that one, and it was stemmed from it was Lutz making a big dive in there, going into the carousel, spinning him around. No serious damage there. The only one that had the really big damage was Dale Bennison. Big damage on his car going, on the grass through the bus stop section.
Yeah, sometimes it happens, and you do note it. We're going to be almost three wide on the exit of the final corner, though, if we can go back to live, because it's Ayers just about holding off Sampson, and here comes Cat trying to thread the needle here at almost three wide. Maxwell backing out a bit wisely, but as they go through, Ayers is going to go sideways. He's going to get turned by Sampson, and somehow everyone manages to avoid that. What's the rejoin on the exit then for Peter Van Gool? He just about will get on okay.
Yeah, and that was a very fortunate incident for Jamie Ayres. Nobody hit him, and backing out of it, just putting that car into reverse and making sure nobody hits him. He can carry on his merry way, but very much on the back foot there for Jamie Ayres with that spin. Big mover up in the top six right now. Carl Hardy moving his way forward and already putting a move on Andy Maxwell, I believe. And Andreas Katz is up into the top four now.
Yeah, brilliant work. And then you've got the top three right now, which is Hefford, Cullinan and Viveka. So they're going to want to work to get through. They're going to have to be patient here. Dan Hunt in that pack. Dan Bristow in that pack. Amico is there. Cooley is there as well. And they're all going to try and work hard here to make sure they don't splinter and fragment this, I would say, peloton-like group at this moment. They've got to work together. Amico getting brave down the inside, trying to attack Carl Hardy. Never any move there. And Hardy shutting the door, making sure Amico never has a chance to go through. Craig Jones there in the battle as well as some side-by-side in the back. Steve Hansford and Mick Barry looking at it for position. But at the moment, Hefford unable to really pull away. And I tell you what, Ralph Cullinan is showing some great grit and determination after these opening two laps.
Yeah, he's probably still been spurred on from that near win he had back at Summit Point, and he's really going for it again this time around. Had that little incident on lap one doesn't seem to have deterred him so far, really putting Hefford under pressure now.
Yeah, that's the key. Pressure is there. Dan Hunt and Dan Bristow trying to get by then on one driver there. That is Craig Jones. They both managed to dispatch, so another one in the books from them. But all of a sudden, Andreas Katz is really rocketing here. He's got the gap down to about 0.8 of a second to Roy Viveka, and that is the key in terms of this race. Get that gap down and start fighting for it. Some drivers going really aggressive through the 90. Peter Van Gool got a huge slide going through that section, but as they crest the rise once again, look at Ralph Cullinan go. He's going to attack Steve Hefford here for position. It's 32 versus 72 as they go through. Result versus Momo. And I tell you what, don't give this one up just yet, because here will come Viveka as well. And we know he's been pushing for that 3-wide move and that power move to go and get this place. And this time, he's not going to go for that. Maybe had half a thought of bump drafting as they went on through. Trainer 4 now at the front. Cullinan still fighting to try and get this one done.
Runs a little bit wide. He gets pushed wide a little bit there by Hefford, who's still trying to defend that lead from the Irishman, but he dives it down the inside through the chute right now. Cullinan moving to the point now. Is your new leader in this race.
Yeah, wonderful work, but here comes Katz looking for the chance to step up, jump on in, got a win in race 1, but wants to make it a win in race 3 as well. He gets through on Roy Viveka with a lovely overtake then, and one that he can be very happy with the way he's constructed it. Jamie Ayres a long way down the order, of course, as well. He got caught up in all of that incident early on, so he's got a lot of work to do to try and get himself back in the field. All 22 drivers, I believe, are running bar 2. Andy Littler and Dale Bennison are the 2 in a little bit of trouble, but now is the time that you want to go out there and challenge. And with Cullinan on the front, some may argue this is the time to go through. And I've just noticed a little bit of blinking for Steve Hefford then in second position. That will be the last thing he wants, the technical gremlins starting to show up.
Yeah, we've already seen them tonight from Dan Hunt, and that's the last thing that Hef wants in this one. And is he now getting a run on Cullinan coming down towards turn 1? Is he going to make a move? Probably a bit too early to make it right now. Didn't kind of ran out of time going into turn 1, and it's very difficult to try and make a move in turn 1. So he probably had that in the back of the mind as they make their way up to the S's, and now begins that big drafting effort down towards the carousel.
We were talking a couple of laps ago how it was a pack of 3. It's now a pack of 12. It's 2 lots of 6 packs right now with Steve Cooley on the back in 12th position. Here comes the moves then for the lead. As, no! Big one! It's Cullinan! It's Katz! It's a heavy accident. It's caught Hardy as well. Rule 1 in effect. And everyone in huge disarray. That was massive. Katz got airtime.
That was absolutely horrific there, and Katz getting a massive piece of that one into the Onco in the air and just barrel rolling down the straight right there. The 2 teammates, I believe it was Carl Hardy and Ralph Cullinan getting a piece of that one as well. All 3 result cars are out bar 1. Craig Jones the only one left now.
Well, by that maths, there were 4 result cars, so that much certainly works.
Yeah.
Hefford leads then. Viveka is second. Amico now up into 3rd, and Maxwell 4th. Bristow is in 5th, and Dan Hunt survives that one in 6th position, but has lost the group just in front. Here comes Amico diving for the inside. He wants to get by Viveka, but not going to get a chance then just yet to make that move a reality. And again, up the hill, here comes Bristow with the power move. And of course, Maxwell was always going to let that one go.
Yeah, and just got to get settled down now. That was a scary incident that they just had to witness right there, but still going to race it on. Hefford now out to a 1.2 second lead. The question is, can he hold on to that? The draft is very important here, and Hefford needs to realize that with, well, literally only half a race left to go.
Tell you what, great battle as well going on a little bit further down. You got Mick Barry, Steve Cooley, Anthony Larson, and Steve Hansford going at it here in a pack, and it is going to be side by side between Cooley and Barry on the run to the 90. And I think Steve Cooley is just about going to get this one on the inside, and he does so, but they've got that big run up the hill, which is coming up on the horizon. Van Gool as well needs to go and get the hurry up. He's got to get by Craig Jones, who's not as quick as the others, and just like that finds a way through. But this is how quickly that this sort of racing can turn on you. You're out of the draft, that's it, you're out of the race. Amico versus Bristow now as they start to charge.
Yeah, and Amico looking for the outside line. Bristow on the inside. Maxwell giving Bristow a nice shove and bump drafted in MX-5 cars. Why not? We are going to be almost 3 wide going for the carousel. This is a scary incident as Amico gets pushed wide, but Bristow in control here as he sweeps around the outside of his teammate.
Yeah, wonderfully done, but Amico He's going to get through on Viveka as well. That wasn't part of the script, and he's still in third position now and scoring points with Bristow up in second. He'll be targeting that race victory after a non-finish there in race number 2, which would have scored 0 points for Dan Bristow. Hefford up there leading this one outright. Will definitely want to try and get into play. You've got Maxwell, you've got Hunt in the mix, and all trying to search on for overtaking opportunities. Hunt then on the outside of Maxwell, trying to go the long way around, and the long way round works.
It does, and he gets it done before the more difficult of the 2 corners. A lot of incidents happen in this corner in the past, but they get it round there nice and cleanly as they make the run up to the hill towards the final 2 corners. Bristow starting to close the gap on Hefford now. This could get interesting.
Certainly can. It depends on whether Amico comes for the joyride as well. If he doesn't, that's crucial. If he does, that's even more crucial, because Amico, we know, loves to be aggressive late on in these sorts of races. That might be something to keep in mind, as they are now on to lap 6 here of 8. 3 laps to go, and Bristow is very much there now here with Steve Hefford. Hefford will have to defend.
Yeah, and it's going to be a very big defence. It's going to be a very brave defence, because we know how aggressive with the passing Bristow can be, and with all that draft he's going to have down the backstretch right now, it's going to be all up to him to try and get around him, and Hefford is going to hold on for dear life.
So to Roy Viveka, because Dan Hunt wants through. Here's the move though for Dan Bristow to look to take the race lead away from Hefford. He does. Hefford immediately back into the tow. Might be able to come back here on the run to the carousel, and that was the idea as he looks for the inside line to try and steal it away, and it's going to work as well, as out washing there is Daniel Bristow as he gets hung out a little bit then going through. Through goes Dan Hunt up into 4th position. He's now got to lead the charge here towards Vincenzo Amico, who is sitting pretty, and we'll use the IndyCar term here, he's in the catbird seat.
Very much so, and he's watching this battle unfold in front of him between Bristow and Hefford, as Bristow takes a little look through the toe of the boot. He might actually get it here. He's going to give himself the favourable line going up towards the heel, and Hefford going to try and squeeze him out a little bit. Does defend, shuts the door in his face, but Bristow going to have the inside line into the heel.
Oh.
Very brave move there, side by side.
Still is, and now this is the key. They're starting to fight amongst each other. The group is bringing itself back together again, which is the last thing that they'll be wanting, except if you're Steve Hefford. More drivers in the pack when you're defending means more chance for incident, and he's hoping for incident, you'd feel, with this long to go in the race.
That he is, and with the pack all coming together, you're pretty sure there will be an incident. It's going to be an 8-car train to the checkered flag here as they come out of the final turn. 2 laps to go. A very wide line there for Dan Hunt as he's looking for a position on Amico.
Yep, just getting in the mirrors, bit of clean air, get a bit of perspective here on the run in towards turn number 1. He nearly takes the back out then of Amico, keeps it in a line. He will be able to use the toe to get back up there again, but he'll be vulnerable to the likes of Roy Viveka. Side by side up the S's is always a little bit slower as Bristow and Hefford fight. Amico nowhere to go at this stage, but he'll look to try and get the drive out of 3 through 4 and pilot high side. We're going to go 3 wide on the front stretch, and I tell you what, if you want to make the move, you've got to run with Amico. They all lunge at the inside right now, and suddenly Steve Hefford is in a quick driver sandwich. But look at Dan Hunt charge through. He's going to be patient, though, and back out of it. And now it's going to allow Andy Maxwell maybe a chance to go through. Bristow defending the inside fantastically here on lap 7 and will still have the lead. Hunt quietly on the inside moves up to 3rd.
Yeah, and good drive, good heads-up driving by Amico. Discretion being the better part of valor for the number 78, having to back out of that 3-wide situation. Now finds himself in a battle with Dan Hunt right now as a 2-wide, 2 deep going down towards the toe.
I was worried a little bit there for Amico. He was starting to poke the nose between Hefford and Bristow. Bristow leads, Hefford second. It's now Dan Hunt up into 3rd position. You got Maxwell and Van Gool along for the ride against each other at the moment, and let's not forget that team battle. It goes all the way back to Sampson versus Ayers right now in the fight for 13th place, so that is something else. Look at them as they go through. Hefford on the inside now takes the race lead, but only temporarily, with 3 wide behind that as Viveka, Maxwell and Van Gool start to try and work out whether they can make some moves. You've got the likes of Craig Jones in the mix as well. And again, Bristow holds on, takes the lead, but Steve Hefford is primed and ready.
Yeah, and he's only got one lap to get it done here as they come through the final turn. Now, it's anybody's game at this point. One more lap to go here, Jake. Who's going to take the win at this one?
Well, that's the £1 million question. Everyone wants to know. $1 million, wherever you may be. It's defended into one by Dan Bristow. He's going very aggressive, trying to hold on to this place. He's going to force out wide then that driver, which is going to be Steve Hefford, but this allows Dan Hunt into the mix, but he's a little bit stymied going up the S's because it's Bristow with a fantastic block. The two Dans have come together at each of the last two race meetings. It might be a case of 3 times the charm. We hope it's not, but look at them all over each other trying to find some room here. Dan Hunt wants to push so that he can open up that space, but he's going to be covered every stage of the way on the inside. Gets a little wiggle there, does Dan Bristow. Now they're trying to block Amico in, and this is Talladega strats as they go towards then this next section. Fantastic battling with now Hefford trying to go around the outside. Does he still have the momentum to make it happen? That's the question. He's still there on that inside. Hunt tries to switch lanes here as Amico lunges hard for the inside. Just about given the room there by Dan Hunt and steals the place away. But still, Hefford tries against Dan Bristow. They'll go wing mirror to wing mirror. They clip them as they now go to the toe of the boot. And it will be Bristow who gets it for the moment. But we saw how Hefford last lap tried this move. Up and under he goes. He'll have the inside. And Hunt's still not giving up in the fight for third. This is incredible stuff right now. They've been side by side the entire last lap of this race, and it still won't be sorted just yet. Round the outside, we'll try Dan Bristow to hold on. Hefford's got to shut the door now here at this off-camber left, and he will shut the door. This will force to the outside Dan Bristow, trying to pilot the outside line, and he is going to try it. Viveka now trying to get in for 4th place, but now you start to wonder, is this the time where Hefford's got what he wants? Because it will be around the outside once more here as they fight. The final corner so vital. Off in the grass almost they go. Van Gaal as well trying to fight for it. Hefford holding around the outside. They fought the entire lap, side by side. Drag race it will be. Look at Dan Hunt charging. Look at Dan Hunt charging. Amico with the late move. 4 wide to the line. It's Bristow by 3,000.
What a finish! 4 wide at the line, and it's Bristow that just takes it by 7 1,000ths of a second. What a finish!
Incredible. Just incredible. And this is what UK sim racing is all about. This is why these races find themselves up there at the highest echelon, and you see amazing action over and over again. 4 to the line, and you could throw a blanket on them. 0.08 of a second splitting them all. That is what sim racing is all about. But the best bit is there is still one more race to come along tonight. And for that, we go for the final time tonight. 2 hours spinning wheel. We're going to work out then where we need to grid everything up, because our final race is coming up after we spin this wheel. Let's spin that wheel. Let's see where it goes.
And it's a full grid swap.
Oh, what a time for that. A full reverse grid. And that changes everything. So confirmation of result. It is Daniel Bristow who held on against Dan Hunt side by side at every stage on that final lap to take that victory, with Hunt second, Hefford third, and Amico there in 4th position trying to make the late charge. It was just as close of a battle, by the way, for the minor positions as well. Craig Jones had a fantastic run for a top 5, with Roy Viveka in 6th, Peter Van Gaal in 7th, and Andy Maxwell there in 8th. That was 3/10, splitting them as they went through top 8, 1.6 seconds. Anthony Larson, very good result there to get to 9th, with Steve Hansford in 10th, Mark Lutz in 11th, and then Jamie Ayers can only manage 12th place. Martin Sampson gets 13th, with Charles Kellyman in 14th. Then it's Steve Cooley, Mick Barry, and the last finisher on the leading lap, once again scoring good points, Alan Toon. That's how he keeps himself in the AM category standings. 5 drivers find retirements: Carl Hardy, Ralph Cullinan, Andreas Katz, of course, all 3 of them together. And then a separate incident for Andy Littler and Dale Bennison, putting an end to their night just a little bit earlier. We're going to try and get ourselves an opportunity to chat with a couple of drivers here and there. And I think now is as good a time as any to jump in with a driver who managed to win that race. Daniel Bristow. Dan, you are here with us with ESBN. What a victory that was. Just describe your emotions after it. I believe we don't have a Dan. So that is a little bit of a shame. But what we will do instead is we'll grab Craig Jones from Result Clothing. Top 5 finish there. Craig, you've got to be really, really proud with that 5th place finish. That was one for you, which honestly, I think you would say is probably one of the best driven races you've had in a very long time.
Yeah, I really needed that as a bit of a confidence boost, to be honest. The way my season's been going, I've had a lot of bad luck. Some of it caused by my own doing, some of it just being in the wrong place at the wrong time. But that was just fantastic racing in that top pack there, and I just watched it all kind of unfold. Went around that last corner, the opportunity was there, put the power on, and got three cars by the end of the line.
I mean, let's just talk about the long game here when it comes to racing like that. Yes, a little bit of contact certainly helped you in terms of that charge, but in terms of how this sort of track creates racing, do you feel like this is more of a benefit out there to the amateur-style drivers who know that they get opportunities to gain places by just staying consistent on the back of some of the pro drivers?
It certainly helps. I think you've got to have a little bit of discipline. It's very easy when you see a car approaching you quite quickly, you're approaching the car in front quite quickly, to go for that move. But then you've got to consider where you are in the race. If it's the start of the race, it's probably not a good idea. Towards the end of the race, on the last lap, then absolutely it gives you a massive advantage, providing you can defend for the rest of the lap.
Certainly does. And a full reverse grid now coming up then for the final race. It's going to be a tough one for you, but another chance then to get points, especially with the carnage of how full reverse grids have gone this season.
Yeah, I'm saying this with my fingers crossed. I don't want to jinx it, but generally I do quite well on race 4, particularly if I'm coming back from the back of the grid as well. So I always look forward to race 4. So I'll keep my head down, try and keep out of trouble, and we'll see what happens.
Well, looking forward to it. You very much will do. Before we let you go, shout out sponsors, anyone you'd like to thank.
Just the guys, the result team. So a few of them were taken out, which I'm sure you captured on the stream there. So as I crossed the line in that last race, they were all shouting and egging me on and screaming at me. It was an epic moment, and it was made 10 times better by just having my teammates screaming down my ear with me.
No worries at all. Craig Jones there, top 5 there, which is the best of his season so far. But we're going to step aside for the final time tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Final race coming up after this. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to your UK Sim Racing MX-5 Pro Series full grid final race of the night coming up. And, well, if you've needed any heart medication or anything else to calm yourself down after that race 3, you're certainly going to need it for race 4 as well. On top of that, Jake Sperry, Sam Cooper-Bennett here to bring you through all of the action once again, and some amazing work being done here by all of the crew at the UK Sim Racing Leagues here at this moment. Sam, you know, you can't understate just how important of a race that was for a number of drivers. Dan Bristow had to really fight to hold on to that for the entirety of the lap when everyone thought he wasn't going to do so. You look at some of those drivers around there who really did need it, really did want it. You know, you're looking at those drivers. Dan Hunt needed a big second after an 18th place finish. You got Steve Hefford, who's on a third, a seventh, and a third now in this one. And then you've got to count the point that Vincenzo Amico right now hasn't finished a race so far tonight outside of the top 4.
Then you've got to think Amico will be one of the top drivers, if not the top driver, coming out of tonight's racing. But what a finish we saw in race 3. I mean, you definitely had to hold your breath at the end, and that run by Dan Hunt at the line made it all the more exciting. We were speaking off air about it just a minute ago. Just absolutely, we had to take a breather after that one.
We certainly did. That was an incredible race that we got our hands onto. And let's not forget, there are drivers who are on the wrong side of that one, namely Andreas Katz, the reigning champion. And that sort of hit for Andreas Katz is a huge dent for any aspiration, seeing as he's got no drop rounds left.
Yeah, and that was probably the most violent crash I've seen him in since we started broadcasting this league. I mean, that will have shaken. I know it's a simulation crash, but that will have shaken him up at least with regards to how violent it was.
And it was all down to the one thing we worry about on that back stretch. 2 drivers making differences of opinions on where they should be on track. One quarter pounds the other, and then you just get that chain reaction, which time and again has happened in a series like this. But there are chances to go and grab points back. There is still that one race remaining, but a lot of drivers here will have to try and reverse their way back through and get themselves into play. Well, the last call has been now thrown in. I believe Daniel Bristow is the only one maybe we could be keeping an eye out on, and then we'll be taking ourselves over to the racing grid up at this point in time. So here's the chance then as we go on forward, and oops, it's a little bit too late to make that call. So we are going to the checkered flag at this stage, and Daniel Bristow is going to have a real rush on his hands to get up onto the grid. So keep this in mind then as we go into the grid scenario. It is Alan Toon on pole position with Mick Barry in second. Steve Cooley lines up third, and Charles Kellyman in fourth position. Martin Sampson goes from fifth with Jamie Ayres sixth, Mark Lutz seventh, and Steve Hansford in 8th place. Anthony Larson and Andy Maxwell start 9th and 10th, with Peter Van Gool 11th and Roy Viveka 12th. It's then Craig Jones and Vincenzo Amico, Steve Hefford, Dan Hunt and Daniel Bristow from 17th. Carl Hardy, Ralph Cullinan, Andreas Katz, Andy Littler and Dale Bennison are the 22 to get themselves into play. But the wait will be for Daniel Bristow in the 22. If he doesn't get up on the grid, he'll have to start in pit lane. And I have to say, it was the result, the optical drivers who weren't ideal. Bristow has got himself up on, but we now still wait for 2 more, one of whom is Roy Viveka on the grid. The other one, Dan Hunt, 2 seconds, 1 second, just about gets on the grid in time. Let's get ourselves ready. It's the final race. The sun is rising here at Watkins Glen. This is all about who has got what it takes. Toon and Barry on the front for work guard. We're underway. Barry's not gone off the start. He's completely not gone off of the start. So this is a huge drama as he's dropped himself about 10 places. Toon's done well off of the get-go, but at least for the moment, it is a nice start from Alan Toon, who leads. A little bit of contact there. Second and third they go through. This could be the race that Kellyman wants. You've got Sampson and Ayres who could really take advantage in a race like this, and Ayres trying to go for a gap that nearly didn't exist.
Yeah, and he had to back out of it because Sampson now up to third place. And I was going to say at the start of the race there, watch for Sampson and Ayres as they try and make their way through the field. But more importantly, look at Steve Cooley. Big move on the inside now as they head their way down to the carousel for the 4th time on Underanger.
under anger on lap 1. Steve Cooley leading. Here comes Sampson trying to thread a needle and go on through. He struggles a little bit with the turn. He's going to go round. Round you go. And he's going to throw Larson into the fence. Larson with a heavy hit. He's going to be in a world of trouble with that one. So immediately Sampson and Larson getting caught out. Sampson's car is completely demolished and his bad night goes to total catastrophe at this moment in time. It's Ayers who leads, it's Cooley in second, it is now Kellyman up there in third, and now it's all about Khan. Van Gool's had a pretty good start of things, as well as Maxwell and Viveka, so they'll be charging up through. I'll tell you who else has done really well at the start, Vincenzo Amico again.
Yeah, Amico been very much battling since the drop of the green flag, and here he goes to the inside of Hansford, big diving move into the corner and gets it done, and Barry going to follow him through as well. Barry on a recovery drive as it seems now, after he completely bogged down on the start.
Oh, absolutely. Andres Katz just behind there trying to sneak a nose up through Jones and Hansford, nearly causing issue, but is okay. Nice and clean it is at the front, and Ayers now has just got to put his foot down because he knows that the group behind maybe not be the quickest. Maxwell runs a little bit wide, and that puts Viveka and Amico almost side by side as they exit through the final corner. McBarry has to leave the room because Amico was always going to charge back for the inside and create the space. That allows through then Steve Hefford, who doesn't have any draft really to worry about, and into one they go once again. A nice clean get-go, and now they'll be on the draft again for these final 8 laps. Now 7 laps remaining here at Watkins Glen.
Yeah, and Hefford almost immediately on the back of Vincenzo Amico. Amico himself on the back of Roy Viveka as they run up through the S's right now, and it's going to be keeping a close eye on these 3 drivers as they try and get around as many drivers as possible. Alan Toon already falling back to P6 here, under pressure from Andy Maxwell.
Yeah, don't expect this one to be a difficult pass, as it's going to be Viveka trying to follow through potentially as well. Amico and Hefford, they've been fighting all night here, trying to figure out who is the better driver of the two, and ultimately they're going to continue to go too wide. Toon there, still going to fight hard for these places, going door to door right now with Roy Viveka. This is the sort of Alan Toon we'd love to see here at ESBN, an Alan Toon that fights and knows how to go for every position. That's the end of those two though. Up and over goes Roy Viveka. His night ends in calamity, as well as the likes of those behind. Benison, Littler, Hansford, those also getting caught up. I count 7 retirements in this race.
Yeah, big incidents right there. Toon, unfortunately, trying to close the door on Viveka, and just absolutely ended in catastrophe. And yeah, some pretty hefty retirements there already.
It was just a case of they started to merge into each other, and it wasn't the way that it was going to be won, that sort of battle. You have to leave slightly more room than that. You can't be uber aggressive, but you've got to still be aggressive around this place. That's the sort of battling nuances that you learn with time. That's the sort of thing that you'll get there with. But the top 5 right now have a bit of a gap to Andy Maxwell. Kellyman, Van Gool, Lutz, Cooley and Ayers currently at the front of this field. And I tell you what, Mark Lutz might be the sleeper in all of this. The 333 has been quietly just having an okay race here, an okay race here, an okay race there. This might be the time where he starts to just kick on.
Yeah, a man still looking for a race win in this league is Mark Lutz, and this is the highest position we've seen him in all night long. And as he chases down Steve Cooley up through the S's, he does have Peter Van Gool right behind him, so he kind of needs to keep one eye in that rear view mirror, as he has a bit of a connection issue there coming down the main straight.
Yeah, that's not ideal, but Steve Cooley is going to go for ideal here. He gets right up behind, moves over to the left-hand side, really pinching Jamie Ayers on that low side, so to speak, then on the run to the carousel, but doesn't close the door off to turn in, which allows Ayers then to go and attack. Van Gool sneaks on through on Mark Lutz. That'll be a position made, but now into the chute. Cooley's got to try and get the move done again. He's got the inside line, but again, Jamie Ayers can work that outside line if he wants. He's got the inside for the toe of the boot, and now it might just be a case of 2 positions of 2 Momo cars finding themselves up on both the podium places. And now there's the move sorted. Wonderfully done. Cooley now maybe going to try and attack off the exit, but they've got to be careful that they don't allow that very aggressive second group to start closing its way in. Hardy and Katz side by side as well.
Yeah, and here comes Mark Lutz back on the inside of Peter Van Gool, coming down to the heel of the boot. Doesn't quite have the room to do it. Kellerman just watching behind him, ever being the clean driver. But behind him, Hefford and Maxwell side by side as they come up the hill.
They got Amico and Bristow for company. Those are the main players of the game that you do not want in your lead battle. Some will say it's only a matter of time. Hefford gets really out of shape there as they fight side by side for the race, for second place, as well. As Cooley tried to keep it in. Van Gool around the outside doing a great job there. And Lutz is going to sneak through as well onto the podium with that move. So nicely done. They're allowing Jamie Ayres a bit of a gap though at the front, and that's what they want to close down in the wall. Amico in the wall. He somehow keeps it together. How has he saved that one? Ultimately, Barry's checked up, and here comes the move from the result car through Craig Jones.
Yeah, Craig Jones trying to have another good run here, and he gets around Amico after his mistake. And the only bit of damage I can see on Amico's car after that is that wing mirror damage. Very lucky man in that number 78 machine.
I'll tell you what, it looks like a dog that's a little bit confused at what you've said, but at least for the moment in time, Vincenzo Amico doing very well at this moment. You've got to give credit to those MX-5 wing mirrors. They do stay on fantastically. The groups, though, are now a group of 6 almost, and it's nearly a group of 2 and a group of 4, because you're now starting to see here those 2 Momo cars that break away from Cooley & Co. Maxwell's in the middle of this as well. He's got aspirations as they go into that carousel once again.
Yeah, he's trying to get up alongside his teammate Charles Kellerman as they come out of the carousel through to the chute, and you see Kellerman trying to put Lutz under pressure as well. So Kellerman's not waiting around either, as Lutz trying to get around Steve Cooley. Cooley pretty much a cork in the bottle right now.
He is, but crucially, he's using the draft in front of Peter Van Gool to keep himself honest in this fight, and that's what he needs. Double take, though, through the corner. He'll understeer on the exit, and this is what Mark Lutz is looking for, an opportunity to attack, which will present itself. But again, the draft coming into play. And this is clever, actually, there from Peter Van Gool in second. He moved out of the draft, not to attack Jamie Ayres, but to try and give Mark Lutz maybe a little bit of draft to help. The issue is that group behind is getting bigger and bigger. Hefford's on the back now. Amico's there. You got now Barry side by side with Katz. You've still got Hardy, Hunt, and Cullinan fighting at it amongst each other, and that's going to be a move done. And look at this for an up and under at turn 9. That is wonderfully done by Andreas Katz to fight against Mick Barry, but it's still not over.
Yeah, Katz still trying to make his way through the field after being at the back of the field after his retirement in race 3. He is bringing Dan Hunt with him as well, and behind them is Carl Hardy and Ralph Cullen, and Cullen probably wanted to give Katz as much space as possible as there's Barry in the wall. Big incident there, and I believe he got into one of the result cars as well.
No, he didn't. He got into Dan Hunt, and that's not Dan Hunt's fault there. With that hit, it was a case of Barry was in the wall, out of control, trying to save it, and he runs into Dan Hunt, and then secondary incidents throw him in the wall. Maxwell's going backwards. He's lost a place there to Steve Hefford, and now it's Amico's turn up the S's section to go through, but the group has reformed again. Front 4 at the front of this pack are now trying to get themselves going here on lap 5. Van Gool, though, can be clever here. Try and bump draft. Cooley's going to go to the outside and use it against the train. The side draft's going to work, and it's going to be followed here by Mark Lutz. Power move by Steve Cooley on the inside, but we know that Jamie Ayres is very good at holding these places. He tries to go around the outside. He slightly washes there onto the marbles, and that's why he loses out the lead.
Retirement for Dan Hunt. That contact was a bit too much for him. He's had to jump to pits. There's contact between Lutz and Van Gool, and Lutz being very aggressive in this late stage of the race. We've had a number of big incidents here. Dan Bristow has fallen by the wayside as well. Big damage on his car. As I just mentioned, Dan Hunt retiring from the race. Lots of incidents happening behind the scenes here, Jake.
And big championship implications as Dan Hunt has a retirement. This is huge for those drivers. Crucially, Roy Vervaker won't be able to capitalise on it as he goes through. And it was a case for Dan Hunt that he couldn't get any turn in the car. The suspension was completely shattered there in the back, and that was the trouble. Cooley, though, leads this field and is doing a wonderful job of doing so. Van Gool turns around. Mark Lutz, they all have to scarper to the inside. They somehow avoid it, everyone else. But crucially, again, it's the German and the Dutchman who have come together.
Yeah, Lutz able to get away from that one. Van Gool has to play catch-up now. Wing mirror on his car, and he's very lucky to only have that damage on his car. But now, very much on the back foot down in P12.
Well, now it's a battle of two up in front. Jamie Ayres versus Steve Cooley in the 87 as they go through. Ayres commanding the corner at the 90. Holds on with 3 to go, but it's Hefford who will be chasing. Amico now through on Charles Kellyman, and now you got Andreas Katz there in the mix. They're all going to be wanting to get through. Katz has been trying to run through treacle, it seems, through this race to try and gain places, but side by side through the S's, that's going to put Steve Cooley through. They were 2 seconds clear, but if they continue fighting too wide like this, it only helps Ayres' cause because Hefford's a teammate.
Yeah, 2.5 laps. Has still got plenty of racing left to do. Very hard racing between teammates in the back there. It's Kellerman and Maxwell almost coming together there down the backstretch.
Maybe thinking about the bump draft, but they've got Katz on the inside. Ayres is going to get the move in the pack. 2 seconds it was over the line. That has pretty much gone in the space of 4 corners. Tells you all you need to know. Cooley's still not giving this one up for the race lead, though. He's going to fight this one with Ayres, try and take him on the big wide line through the chute, and he's going to try and get a drive off the exit there as the Welshman Jamie Ayres. You know what? He's going to get it as well here on the inside for the toe of the boot. So again on the outside, move is done. Ayres for the moment has got it, still got it. Here comes Hefford on the inside. It's going to be Momo 1-2 again.
Yeah, and big implications here for Momo as well if they can get this 1 and 2 here in this race. Look at where the optical blue cars are. They are nowhere to be seen right now. This is massive points here for the Momo team in regards to the team points.
Exactly, because you've got out, and then 13th. That's nothing in terms of points, and they can really go back. Cooley looking for the inside, and you can also see the likes, of course, of Andreas Katz on the back of Amico. This is all going to come down to who wants it more then over the final 2 laps, because you've still got a huge 10-car train fighting for the victory all the way back at Carl Hardy there. Got the 3 result cars there, Hardy, Cullinan and Jones. Are they going to try and do what they did in the last race, maybe, and try and steal some places late?
Absolutely, they're all in one big line coming down towards turn 1 here. Andreas Katz having a bit of a look on Amico there as we've got one very much...
Amico!
And Amico's in trouble! Big trouble for Amico!
Turned by Andreas Katz, the great evening that Amico's had. He's now going to be a limp from now to the end. Heavy damage for Vincenzo Amico and nothing of his own doing. They all checked up for the group in front, and then Katz couldn't get it slowed.
Yeah, big heartbreak there for Amico. Thankfully does not break the suspension on that car, so he can keep going. Falls behind Peter Van Gool as we do have a 3-wide situation for the lead here. Hefford making a big dive for the inside, but look at Cooley once again.
Cooley wants this one here. He knows he's fighting for a race win. He doesn't mind who it is that he's fighting. He's going to go all the way for it. Katz as well will be at the eye of the stewards. He might get a DSQ from the race from that hit and get some penalties for next week. But as they head through the chute, once again, it's a group of 8 at the front of this field. They know what they need to do, and that is stay calm. It is Steve Hefford now who leads this field, but you got Cooley there trying to figure out which way he can go. He's looking, of course, at that inside line, followed by Katz, who's trying to help out. And if you can slot into line right there, like Cooley's just done, perfect driving, just sitting and watching, waiting for the big one to happen. You've got the likes there of Kellyman and Maxwell and Jones and Cullinan, all in the AM category fight going through. Cooley's there as well, but Cooley's the only one, I'd say, in this race, the amateurs, who's being legitimately proactive.
Yeah, and he's really taking it to leaders. His Katz is off! Katz is off!
I think Katz is out. Katz is out with that one.
Yeah.
I think he understood. He knew what he had there. He knew what he was dealing with. And maybe, just maybe, he's trying to avoid penalty with that one. If I'm going to lose points anyway for that hit, it's on me. Then there's nothing I can do. I'll pull it off the road and say I'm done. So now, probably one of the biggest names in that race is gone. And we've got a lap to go.
Absolutely, they cross the line right now. One more lap to go, and we're looking at a Momo 1-2 as things stand right now. Cooley's still in third. Kellyman now in a prime position in P4 right now. Looking very strong now, looking to the back of Cooley.
This is where you say, gloves off. We've been patient and waited all this time. We don't have to do that anymore. It's the last lap of the race. Now you've got to be aggressive. Ayres would love a victory, as would Hefford here, who surprisingly hasn't got one. He's got 2 podiums. You've got Cooley there and Kellyman. So now you've got to coordinate here. How are you going to get this one done here with the Momo cars in complete command? They've got to shut down all the gaps. Cooley's going to go through the middle, though, and there's nothing they can do to stop it. They didn't cover off everything. They couldn't. The straight's too large. And here they go. Cooley trying to make it happen. Ayers holding the inside. Efford's going to wash out then a little bit, and that's going to allow Kellyman then the chance to look through to the inside as they continue on. Only a second place so far for Jamie Ayers, who again holds the line that he needs to. Cooley in second, and well held there by Hefford to get into third, with in fourth position now. One Charles Kellyman. Jones is there. Big issue behind. Hardy and Maxwell have come together. And category leader in trouble as they go through. And now Hefford's going to run a little bit wide. It's up to Steve Cooley if he wants to go and get this victory. He's got to find a move on Jamie Ayers, and this is going to be big. The result cards now side by side. Jones and Cullinan then trying to figure it out between them, but Jones is going to stay ahead, at least for the moment. They go through the heel of the boot. They head up to turn 9 in the NASCAR corner. You've got to really open it up now if you're Steve Cooley and try and find that move. It is there. It is certainly there. How are you going to get this one sorted? How are you going to find this overtake here? Ayers is defending slightly, going into that next corner, turn 10. One more remains here for Jamie Ayers. He's just got to keep it together here. Can Cooley find the big lunge through the corner? So aggressive on entry. He's giving everything here. Cooley's going to try and attack Jamie Ayers, but Ayers has got the track on his advantage. Ayers will take the win. Cooley second, and it's then going to be Hefford for 3 third places here tonight.
What a run by Steve Cooley. Definitely the driver of the night from the AM category driver. Ronan Simsports will be very proud of him for that one. Kellyman up in the top 5 as well. Cullinan coming away with 5th place, and great racing at the end there. A top 5 that is overrun with AM category drivers. Where did that come from?
Where indeed we had ourselves a whole heap of retirees as well, and that was a very incredible race to go and get to. We'll get confirmation of a result in the next couple of moments. The likes of Littler and Benison are limping around, which will demote Andreas Katz a lap down into 15th place. So half a tenth in the end for Jamie Ayers. Not in terms of what we saw from race 3, that is a massive gap that Jamie Ayers has as he came to the line, with Steve Cooley in second and Steve Hefford there in third. Charles Kellyman ends up getting 4th position, exactly where he started, with Ralph Cullinan picking up 5th. We heard about Craig Jones. He said he loved racing in these sorts of races where he can move up through the field. He got to 6th place in the end, top 6 split by 1.5 seconds, with Mark Lutz there in 7th after a bit of contact, Peter Van Gool 8th, Andy Maxwell demoted down to 9th after contact with Carl Hardy on the last lap. Hardy finishes off in 10th place. Then it's 11th position for Vincenzo Amico. A real shame as he limped it home. Still finishes ahead of Dan Bristow in 12th, with Andreas Katz demoted down to 15th. Due to these two drivers just crossing the line now, Dale Benison just ahead of Andy Littler as they both cross the start-finish line. And also in the retiree section, championship leader Dan Hunt, Mick Barry, Anthony Larson, second in the championship at the time, Roy Viveka, Alan Toon, Steve Hansford, and Martin Sampson as well. Such incredible racing that we have seen out there. Ultimately, we have Jamie Ayers muted and deafened at this moment in time, so we'll take the chance to chat with Charles Kellyman, finishing off exactly where he started, in 4th position overall. Charles, I have to say, that is a race with a full reverse grid that you needed to stay up at the front on, to stay relatively in and around. And when everyone around you fell into troubles, it was you that kept a calm head and got a really strong result after what was a difficult night of racing.
Oh, yeah, I had a pretty awful night at the beginning. I don't know if you saw what happened on lap 1 of race 1, but yeah, I didn't finish, unfortunately, but, you know, as the night progressed, I did get better and better, so I was really pleased with that final race. It was epic racing with those guys at the front, yeah.
Well, epic racing indeed, and epic in the sense now that you've got to try and rebuild your championship over the course of a challenge. Also, we want to actually get this chance to talk to you about this. How do you stay so clean and out of trouble as a driver? You have the lowest incidents per race capita out of anyone.
Do you know, I'm part of I'm one of the stewards, so we review the races, and I do speak to the guys, the more experienced guys, and ask them, pretty much every week. What would you have done in certain situations, and how, so I'm learning as I go, and I don't take chances. I do, if I see an opportunity, I think twice before going for it. And also, if I do see that there's a pro behind me and he's clearly quicker than me, I'll go wide into the turn and let him come through, rather than challenge them. So I think just keeping my nose clean by picking my fights, I think that's what's helped me.
It certainly seems that way. Let's talk about next week, though. It is the circuit Gilles Villeneuve. I do believe that we are heading to next. A very similar circuit in design to Watkins Glen. It's a place where there is some draft available. It's very much a street circuit, so it's going to be narrow and close again. Do you see this being a race that, when you look at it on paper, it's one that maybe is going to bring certain styles of drivers to the front compared to others in this field?
I certainly do think that, we've seen it week in, week out, where, some of the fast guys, they pull away, and, the ones that are mid-pack tend to keep up with them because of the type of track. But, I'm just hoping that next week I can, again, keep it clean, try and regain some of the points I lost for the team and for myself individually. So, yeah, looking forward to it.
Well, the floor is yours. Shout out sponsors. Anyone you'd like to thank from the team, of course, at Optical Green.
Yeah, I'd like to shout out the whole of the team. I'm not going to name them individually because we're building a pretty good team. But both Optical Green and Blue doing okay. Well, we were doing okay in the championship until this week. We'll have to see where the points end up. Obviously, you guys for doing what you do week in, week out. It takes me up to about midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning to watch it all back once I've finished racing. But yeah, you guys obviously, and obviously the organisers of the league as well.
That's not a problem at all. Charles Kellyman, that getting exactly what is wanted out of that, a 4th place finish to make sure that everything was nicely sorted. We are going to very quickly jump back with Steve Hefford here. Definitely wanted to chat with us. Steve, 3 podiums. Lucky number much?
Yeah. What a night. I need a cold shower.
Cold shower would definitely be in the definite vicinity of needed. But races 3 and 4, you're up there fighting in some very, very close battles to the end. Let's talk race 4 first and foremost, because it looked like yourself and Jamie Ayres had maybe a chance to break, but ultimately couldn't quite coordinate things on the last lap to defend.
Yeah, I was happy to stay behind, but I think he missed a gear or something. He had a bad exit, so I had a run really, and I couldn't waste it. So I wasn't in an ideal position going into the last lap, and the draft's just so strong here that, a couple of seconds a lap really, I think, maybe, or second and a half maybe, if you've got, 2 cars in front of you. So it's a big thing really. But yeah, I'm probably pretty unlucky really. I thought I'd got a win, but it wasn't to be. I was probably the best loser. But it was good fun. I don't care about not, if I'm in the top 2 or 3 and I'm having races like that, I mean, that's what I'm here for.
Absolutely. You take that home and you take some big points. Gilles Villeneuve next time out. How are you feeling after what would have to be here tonight at Watkins Glen? A massive, massive, I would say, confidence boost and momentum gainer.
Yeah, I love Canada. Really good track. A couple of really nice chickens in there. So I look forward to it.
No worries at all. Steve Hefford then, 3 third-place finishes to bring through proceedings then. But Sam, final thoughts then. We leave Watkins Glen tonight, and next week we're crossing the border, minus the 2-week quarantine from America over to Canada, because we are virtually racing at Gilles Villeneuve.
Yeah, we're going from one exciting track to another. I mean, I love Watkins Glen, but I love the Circuit de Gilles Villeneuve just as much. I mean, tight and twisty as you like it. Plus, those walls on the outside really going to punish you if you hit them. It's going to be just as fast paced, but a lot more. Going to have to be a bit more careful next week with those walls.
Yeah, the only place you can catch that sort of battling is with us here at ESBN. If you haven't had a chance already, you can like, share, and subscribe for more amazing content brought to you by us over here. Massive thanks, though, has to get it done. Words over to all of the people who've got it done at the UK Sim Racing League, and so much great stuff has been coming along from them. From Sam Cooper Bennett and myself, Jake Sperry, it was another night of pick up points and try and score what you need to. Amico looked fantastic, as did Steve Hefford here today, but it's a case of might have beens for many drivers in the field. Dan Bristow, big might have been. It was a huge might have been over the course of racing today. For example, for Dan Hunt, the championship leader, it all falls onto a knife edge. It all falls to who can do what. But somehow, some way, it is still a one-race margin to those who are equally around, who have raced all of them for Dan Hunt at this stage. Chances will arise next week. We're heading to Canada. Salut, Gilles. We'll see you then.